Yo, 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 no maniacs. Welcome into another edition of Some Extra Sauce. We're going to put a little bit of extra on that thing for you guys. Regular Bears content. Ain't going to be able to do nothing with this, man, because we really get into it, man. We really get into Bears content and some extra stuff to go with it, man. We put a little exclamation point on what we do, man. So we were just in the background vibing to Manslaughter, a fan video. You guys should go check that out. I think it's Manslaughter by, I think, a guy named Mone Media, M-O-N-E Media. It's a fan video they made for all the EPMD heads like me and Keds and Trips out there that love their music, man. It's a great fan video. You guys should just check it out, man. It's great. But we're here to talk about Chicago Bears and what happened since we've been down there at the combine, man. And it's been we talked to a handful of football players, which I got here for us. We'll get into that in a minute, but the interviews, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and what they were saying, did they leave any nuggets out there for us to scoop up? I definitely had the vacuum out there. I grabbed them up, and we're gonna talk about some of that stuff here, man. I named this I titled this show "Playmakers Everywhere." That was one of the things that I heard Ben Johnson say in particular, and playmakers everywhere made me think of a particular guy. There is no better playmaker is in this entire draft than Savion Williams, receiver from TCU. Extremely explosive football player. Now, how we get to a position to draft a guy like Savion Williams, that's a whole other conversation that we're willing to have here tonight, man. But, that's just a small part of what we want to talk about tonight. And I'll just save what I'm really built up to be saying right now. And I'll just put the brakes on it right quick and pass it on to my guy, the Canuck over in Canada.
Hey, that's me. What's cracking, No Maniacs, Super No Maniacs? Give you guys a little bit of love as we do right about now. Starting with my homie, Triple R, underneath me. What it do, my brother? The other homie on the other side. What it do, Nomad? Let's get down to you guys who are out there. Cornelius Squalls, Marco King, Minister Charles Johnson's in live and direct. What it do, Minister? Victor Perez, FFG. What up, FFG? Who else we got? Mr. Mayhem just jumped in. Hey, man, we're gonna talk Bears like we always do. And there's been a couple of developments, couple of conversations definitely to be had. So we'll get through all of that here tonight, and probably we may talk about midgets and feet. Who knows? Triple R, what's popping, my brother? What are you saying?
How about feet on midgets?
The midgets' feet, like the actual feet on the midget. Now we're getting
the little Vienna sausage, huh?
Right? Those little sausages all curled up, all stinky.
I'm sorry, No Maniacs. Look what I've done. I apologize.
Do you think they got like midget toe jam, or is it like regular?
Yeah, thank you son of a. Thank you.
Yeah. What up to all the No Maniacs out there, all the Super No Maniacs? Everybody in the chat, everybody not in the chat that's tuning in, and that will tune in later. What up, y'all?
Hey, man, if you guys didn't notice already, we talked to a couple of players down at the combine already. It's about 5 players in particular. Let me look at this name. It was Michael Williams, one of the first football players that we highlighted here on the channel. Of course, it was Kane Madrano, linebacker out of UCLA. Jalen McLeod, linebacker / edge rusher out of Auburn. And Jamari Caldwell was a guy that I just highlighted a couple weeks ago on the show me and FFG does. People will remember that. And Ashton Genty, everybody's talking about him, but we'll get to that stuff in a minute. But did you guys get to hear any interviews at the combine? Did you guys watch any interviews at all? And if you did, what were your takeaways?
Yeah, I watched polls. I watched Ben Johnson. First, I watched a couple of interviews with some of the actual players, Nick Swarton being one. First thing I'm gonna say, I gotta give a shout out to Greg Braggs. You know what I mean? Braggsy, man. Braggsy's out there in a suit asking like the tough questions. He's asking wicked prepared questions, not just
Braggs got his doofy ass in a suit.
He's in a suit. He's out there suited and booted, and he's asking not just like meatball ass questions like you would expect to come.
I hope Braggs wins this show. I'm telling you, Bragg, you sell out motherfucker. You know, went total corporate.
Hey
Man,
man,
we fucking with you, Bragg.
hey man, I'm down with it. I've been Greg Braggs, man. I've had to go corporate too. It pays. Yeah. Anyways, yo, man, I just want to give a shout out to Greg. You're doing a fantastic job out there. Some of the line of questioning that he had prepared this just for the last couple of days has been beautiful. Speaking about beautiful, tomorrow's a big day. We get to start to actually watch the combine and see what's going down on out there. So keep your eyes peeled and sit back, get your popcorn and your nachos ready. And the underwear Olympics commences at some point tomorrow afternoon.
See, there's kids being a typical fan. While these kids are out there running around in their spandex, you know, running their top 40 times, he talking about get your popcorn and your nachos. Ain't that such? But you're sitting there watching on TV like we do.
Right. It's
you know,
like
with snacks and such.
There you go.
It's not
Like
the
triple R dip.
It's definitely not the thing for me that it is for a lot of other people. It's definitely not, man. You know, I always look at the combine and I know, like, if you play in it, you know those drills are available all the time in your practice, especially like when you're doing your spring practice and your workout, you know, getting ready for fall season, all those drills and all that stuff that you see at the combine is part of regular training. You know what I mean? And in those regular training sessions, there's a good, strong chance that, you know, you can blow something out anytime you're doing those drills, man. Anytime. So all the people that are mad at Shedeur Sanders for not doing it, not being a part of it, and mad at Caleb Williams, I was never, ever upset with any of it because I know what it is. It's a dog and pony show. It's a dog and pony show. Dude, those are high impact, really stressful on your tendons and joints exercises, man. And any one of those guys, and I've seen for the last couple of years, kids, I've seen guys go out during those sessions, man, at the combine, just blow something completely out and totally unnecessary. You did a pro day, you had a whole college career on video. These freaking coaches know what they're looking at. And so why do we need to do the combine? It's my question. Is it even necessary?
Mm-hmm. I say it's necessary, and that's me. I'm saying it. I say when the lights are brightest, you want to see these guys compete. And that the lights are pretty bright in that scenario. They are all nervous. This is unknown territory, and they're doing things in front of a crowd that they generally don't do in front of a crowd. It's usually in front of your homeboy and maybe your coach. You know what I mean? A couple of people. That's the value that I see there. It is the value of being out of your element. And how do you perform when you were not necessarily, again, in your regular element? That's a difference between even that and the pro day. Right, the pro day, you're still in your element to some degree. You're there with your friends, you're the people that support you, your teammates, your entire coaching staff. They're all there with you, cheering you on. This is different. This is in front of the big lights, big cameras. You're about to be big lights, big cameras for the rest of your career. Can you shine? And what's interesting is, like, a guy like, and this is the other reason why I love it, is like a guy like Jalen Carter goes out there and stinks it up, and his draft stock drops. And quite frankly, Chicago passes on him only to be put in a position where they could still get him all over again. So it's important.
Question: do you think they passed on him because of something they saw at the combine?
No, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but that might have been the case for maybe one of the other 8 teams.
I don't know about that, kids. But
Kid's
I'll let you weigh
playing out the frame right now, isn't he? Though he's like, regardless as to how many teams passed on him, he's playing well.
It's they know what they know about these players, kids, and it's a dog and pony show. I don't know that the combine necessarily in its form. It's kind of like the Pro Bowl. It's kind of like the, you know, how they made adjustments to the Pro Bowl. Like you know, this is very risky for these football players who are millionaires and dependent on their bodies. You're asking us to go all out just for the sake of these people that's buying popcorn and hot dogs and shit. And you're expecting this performance. And quite honest, is it worth it? You know, all those coaches need to see is on film, physically. Now, when they get to meeting somebody and get to going through history of what this person is, what kind of character he has, that's a completely different ballgame. But that's relevant. This shit here, dog. I hate to be a Debbie Downer when it comes to this stuff, but I ain't attracted to it, kids, because I know what it is. It's just a big ass risk for all these explosive ass football players. You can blow it all.
If that's the case, I get that not every campus or every college, university is going to have the same measurements, like your 40 times, your all those testings that they do for, how's your bend with the 3 cone stuff. You don't run 3 cones in a game, and there's no film on that, but it just gives everybody a side-to-side look at how you do those physical activities. And considering that it's a physical game, you blow some shit out, oh well, better blow it out now than have a team draft you, then you blow it out while you're a rookie, coming from the team aspect. I'm not looking at it from the player's aspect, because guess what? Dog and pony show, get to barking, get to doing whatever ponies do, because that's the gig, baby. You know what I mean? You can't be mad at it. It's like, it's a physical game. It's a physical thing. Guess what? Get out there and get physical. You blow something out, oh, well, that's just how the bone breaks or the ACL crumbles or whatever the analogy you want to use. So it's like, well, look at my college tape. It's like, okay, HBCU kid, who'd you play competition versus this, Power 5 guy? None of that is going to matter on the 40-yard dash or the 3 cone or whatever drills they have you doing positionally, but those positional drills can raise the stock on, players from a smaller school or less publicity or notoriety, just the way it can lower the stock on a top-notch recruit that's projected to come in. So it matters. And then the interviews, because guess what? After losses, after wins, you're going to have to talk to the media, in front of your locker room. How do you do it now when there's not really any pressure on you because you're not playing? You're just talking. You're just running drills that you practice against your own competition and the times of others. So it's all part of the onboarding process to the NFL to be that, public eye all the time, to be able to perform physically, jump through those hoops, jump over those hurdles, the verticals, the bench presses, whatever the case may be. That's just the game, baby. You want to make those millions, do the shit that the people that's giving you millions tell you to do. It's not like there's an option. You could skip it. Are you hurting your draft stock? Maybe, maybe not. Like a Caleb Williams or Shedeur Sanders, who are expected to be top, pick guys. They're not going to hurt their value because they're not going to go to the combine and miss every throw. Or
wait now, hold on, and this is part of the reason why it makes me mad when these kids skip it. So if we saw Caleb Williams deep ball at the combine last season,
and it was
I'm just saying, do you think everybody would have been raving about Caleb Williams? I'm just putting things out. I'm just putting things out there. Shedeur, I don't know why you're skipping the combine, bro. Go destroy it. And that's what I'm trying. The challenge is there. Go destroy it. Everybody's punking out, and I hate it. Victor Perez, I know we're talking. I brought up Jalen Carter. Is probably a bad example, but at the same time, if Jalen went out there and destroyed the combine, I guarantee you people would have second thought about his character issues. Right, like I'm just saying it. There's another defensive tackle last year, and I'm blanking out on the name. Hopefully, somebody can remember either you two or in the chat. A white dude, a white kid, he came
Fisk.
out. Fisk, thank you, bruh. Thank you, sir. Fisk came out, killed his 40 time, and immediately pumped his stock. Fisk was probably projected.
Wait a minute. You saying you guys are saying somebody increases their stock. Who do you think they're increasing their stock with? Like these guys.
Anybody in the league, if you're a receiver, if you're Fisk and you're just like, yeah, he's all right, he's running a 5 something, then you come out and you run a 4.6. Or if you're a receiver like Worthy, wasn't that to get that record?
He was
And
that.
like, he wasn't going to be drafted as high as he was until he set that speed record.
I don't know about that, man. That dude's speed is evident on film, man. I typically I'm going to try to find a way to agree with my boys, man, because I know what they're saying. I understand what they're saying, but I'm telling you right now that I was listening to Ben Johnson on probably 4 or 5 different interviews. He was with CBS, ESPN, 760, 670 to score, all those interviews. I watched every last one of them. And one of the things I could see his energy when being asked about, what does he expect down there? And what I came away with, and this is what he said. He was just like, he kind of blew the question off and was just like, we seen the film. We're not going to get away from the film. We know what it is. All this stuff is just, I don't buy all that, this is somebody's going to boost their stock or their stock's going to drop. That shit's bullshit, dude.
No chance.
Bullshit, dog. I'm telling you.
I think so, because it wasn't the excuse me. It wasn't the combine that Jalen Carter really lost momentum. It was his pro day.
It was a car accident and then the pro day. You're right.
Yeah, I'm talking more about the pro day, because the car accident, we're not even going into that. But the pro day, when he couldn't finish, it's like, well, he's stressed. It's like, all right, excuse. But that's not a good look. And then the other teams is like, wait, he couldn't wait, what? Now on the field, he's a good player, but it's still TBD as far as his career goes and his trajectory and his quote unquote character issues.
You're talking about meetings and finding character flaws if they are present in conversations with people. Now that's where I think the combine is more important. Medicals, getting meetings with people just to see if you can find some hiccup in the stories you've been told about this kid. I mean, I think that's valuable as shit. But as far as the physical stuff that goes on in the combine, running 40s and doing, fucking high, all that shit's ridiculous, man.
Right.
I'm telling you, it is ridiculous. It's a waste of time.
If you're trying to tell me that Fisk didn't up his stock, if you're trying to tell me Fisk didn't up his stock because of his 40 alone, actually, it wasn't just a 40 alone.
I'm a Florida State fan, kids. I know Florida State football players. I know what Braden Fisk was. So it was evident on tape what he is. All the other stuff that can happen to mess up your draft stock probably happened. Well, I don't know what it was, but apparently something happened, but I don't think it was anything physically.
No, I think his thing was he was wasn't he injured during his last season in college or something, so his draft stock was a little bit lower, but then he came to the combine, he had awesome numbers, awesome physicality, so it put that draft stock back up there. So yes, you can make money at the combine or you can lose money at the combine depending on how you perform.
When you say draft stock, Trip, is there an entity or person or persons that are measuring what this draft stock is worth? Because you hear draft stock a lot of time.
Well, I mean, there's a whole industry now based on it.
It's going down, but who's fucking measuring? Who's doing the measurement?
There's a whole lot of different people measuring. There's PFF. There's this prospect guy. There's that prospect guy.
All of them are irrelevant, Trip. All of them.
Well, tell that to the millions that they make and the people that subscribe and read to it. That are learning and hanging on every drill. We'll watch this, be like, oh damn, that kid's fast, and there's nothing else to watch right now, sports wise.
No, man, it's not really irrelevant. It's data to be looked at. Whether you 1,000,000,000% agree with that data or you trail off and you decide to use that data, utilize it to potentially influence how you're going to zero in on your draft board, it's not irrelevant data, right? There's a Jimmy Johnson scale. You can look at that scale again for how people break down a big board. There's many different ones. PFF is another one, but I can't sit there and say that it's irrelevant. What I can say is that it's simply analytics to be used.
Metrics matter.
Your overall big board, right?
Because your boy, what's his name with the hair that's been on TV for 50 years?
Mel Kiper.
Him. You know what I mean? He's made
with the hair. Oh yeah, okay.
Look at what Smitty is saying, man. So to the point of metrics do matter in a sense. He's saying Fisk's arms were deemed short for his position, and that affected his stocks. Now that's real. Now that's real. So that's something that you didn't need a combine to find that out about. You know, there's
No.
nothing he's going to do in the combine to
Not
determine.
going to grow longer arms in the combine.
No, he's going to be an alligator.
It's not-
He's going to be an alligator. That's it.
It's not a question of metrics now. It was a question of realistically, given his short arms, given his injury history, from a draft stock perspective, he was probably slated to between the 3rd and 5th rounds. That's really where he was, like, where folks were looking at drafting him potentially. After his showing at the combine, that changed 100 billion%. And I'm pretty sure he was drafted in the 2nd round, if not earlier. Right? Like, it helped him with his draft stock. Same thing with Xavier Worthy, mind you. I'll say that I had him mocked to go to Kansas City by hook or by crook, regardless as to whether they traded up into the 1st round to get him or if they waited to get him in the 2nd round.
Now, let's be clear about who you're talking about. We were talking about Braden Fish, but now you're probably talking about. Oh, is that who you're talking about?
With the speed.
Or are you talking about Jalen?
Worthy.
Worthy. I'm talking about the same guys we've been talking about, right? So Worthy was another guy who you could say went to the combine, blew it up, and definitely upgraded his stock.
I don't buy that, bro. I think where people get the word stock from is just from other outlets that tell somebody whether somebody's stock is up or down.
Well,
That's
look at
the
draft projections on like the draft thing that either we use here or all of the other ones, where it's like, all right, player X is projected to go, at 35 to 37. And then after the draft, if they have not the draft, but the combine, if they have a good combine and a good pro day, it's like, oh man, now he's projected at 15. And that can happen the other way as well. And it does all the time. Just look at some of the numbers that are just projections, but those projections change based on their performance.
After this week, those like the mock that we run on PFN, players will be in different places. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now, and that is a representative of their draft stock and how they did at the combine. You'll see.
I think we all understand, and I know, and none of us, either one of us, idiots. This is all for fan consumption. All of it, PFF and the rest of them. It's all for ESPN, NFL Network. I don't care who they hire and whether you think their background is valid or not. Not a one of them people have been in one of those teams, 32 teams, rooms and seen that draft board and how they measure these guys, the metrics they use. You know what I mean? It's just their evaluation given to the public, and the public takes it and runs with it.
Just look at Smitty Q. He put that comment up there. Who's ever running those? Motherfucking Foster, what up, you fuckhead, you?
Which
one? Foster.
Which Smitty Q comment? That one?
People are looking with the Caleb Johnson 40-time one.
That one.
Yeah, there we go. People were looking to see if Worthy was actually fast. Caleb Johnson 40-time will affect him the same way. Exactly. All off season's been Genty this, Genty that, Genty this, Genty that. Then the running backs from Ohio State, and then Caleb Johnson. If Caleb Johnson blows him away in the 40-time, he's gonna raise his draft stock.
Or sucks in the 40-time, he's probably going to drop behind those two cats from Ohio State, right? Like it's literally right. It's important to understand that when the lights are the brightest, how do you perform? And if that's how you perform when the lights are bright, unfortunately, that might affect the guy who's going to draft you, right? He does have his own board, and I know, like, we're having a really interesting conversation here. It might be boring the hell out of the No Maniacs out there, but the reality is, Nomad, you don't really believe in the idea of draft stock, right? Is that a fair statement?
If you were a guy, if you were one of the Bears people in that room, and if you were a known commodity in that room, and you told me that X player his draft stock dropped because what I saw at the combine, then I'd be proven wrong. But until I hear or see a scout or a GM tell me that I saw something at the combine that turned me off on this, I ain't never heard that. So it's really just all for fan consumption, man. I get it, dude. It's fun to watch. It's great for the fan base and everybody's fan base for that matter. It's great, for people that like to see that kind of stuff. But I'm just telling you, I'm looking at it all with a side eye.
But now remember, the combine's been around longer than cable TV, than pay-per-view. So the combine as was created here, that comment that you just took down.
Which
was
one?
Created, what is that, Victor Perez? Mm-hmm. The combine was created to help teams split the cost of evaluating players by collecting in-depth medicals, physical measurements, and intel via interviews on draft players. That's a universal thing. It's like, all right, we're gathering the top, according to them, players from across the country to have universal measurements, because this school measures the 40 this way. This school measures height this way. This school measures the vertical this way. We're going to bring them all together, have actual medicals, not from the schools, because, they may be incomplete, not as in depth, or they're lying. So we're going to bring them all together. We're going to have all the league teams here. We're going to have the top players here. We're going to go from there. Now, as it's progressed after the decades, and there is more eyes on it, there are more, channels and networks and podcasters and content creators covering it. So, of course, being, this time of year when there are no games, the NFL is like, well, how do we monetize this? And here we are. But that doesn't change the thing that it's like, all right, you kid come from this school, you kid come from this school, line up. All right, what are your actual times? What are your actual measurements? Put them on the measurement sheet for the players and the coaches and the GMs, or the GMs that are into that, like the RAS score. How do you know the RAS score unless you do it all there together? And if that's a thing, if that's what you are, one of your draft criterias to have a higher score there, you got those measurements there. So, I mean, it's all part of the business, but then it's also part of the entertainment factor as well, which is part of the business.
Yeah, they turned it into a circus, and like, cool. People make money at the circus, but there's still an analytic value here that is to be had. And I'll just give you a for instance, right? So White Ghost is in the chat. Shout out White Ghost. Shout out to everybody who just jumped in. AC Adam, Smitty Q, Minister Charles. Who else jumped in? Foster Covers is in there. Frank Perez, or Victor Perez, Frank, B Minor. Anyways, so White Ghost is out there and he's talking about his guy, LaQuint Allen, who is probably not going to get a lot of shine outside of a situation like this, right? If he
never heard of him.
You say LaQuint Allen is a running back out of Syracuse in the draft.
Yeah. So what happens if LaQuint Allen really shows out? What if he goes out there and he really shows out, puts up really decent 40 time, and the rest of his drills look similar, if not better, than some of the higher end running backs in this super deep running back draft class? That being said, he's projected, and we've done these mocks a few times, he's projected to go pretty far back, right? 6th, 7th round. I can see it potentially pushing his stock up in a really deep running back class. And this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. That's why it's exciting to me. I kind of want to see these guys go out there and compete against each other and show out. Some of these kids are busting their ass to go and do exactly what I'm talking about. Other guys are deciding not to go at all.
Well, I look at it this way.
Let me ask you this, Matt, before you answer that question. Let me ask you this, and this kind of feeds into it. If you are a college player and you are projected to be higher in the draft and your college team is going to a bowl game, are you playing in that bowl game, or are you sitting out to save your body?
If it's just a bowl game and we ain't playing for no title, I'm not playing, no. Nope. Because my body is my number one resource. It's my number one asset. If I screw this up in any kind of way, doing anything, leading into signing a contract for however X amount of dollars that is, anything I can do. If I go out and go get in or ride a motorcycle and then crash that up and mess myself up in the process, that all counts. So does these drills, and so does all these, things that you have to do in you guys' terms in order to improve your stock. I just don't buy it, dude. I know better than that, dude. You got to watch film. And your film, I think the combine one of these days is going to get down to, a whole bunch of players that, are on the fringe and that feel like the combine is something that they can use to maybe get a little bit more attention. Somebody from like a Irv Mulligan from Jackson State, HBCU guy, he can come in there and say, you know what, I'm gonna show these guys that I'm fast, I'm dynamic, I can catch the ball, do all this kind of stuff. But I think the most important thing is the medicals and the interview process. I think that's it. All this other stuff, I think it's just really, it is really for fan consumption. And I understand why people enjoy it. To a certain extent, a small sliver, I enjoy it. If somebody's taking off and running, doing a Valus Jones 40 or a Worthy 40, I'm watching that. I'm like, I'm just amazed at how fast these guys run. But that's where it ends with me, because I know it's almost like I don't know, man. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I really don't think that GMs and scouts or anybody is really looking at this stuff and saying, you know what, I'm taking them down off my board. I don't think so, man. Somebody had to really screw this up. Really, I do believe that. Damn, everybody get quiet, man. What happened?
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of, entertainment show, a little bit of information gathering, and a whole lot of, commentary about, oh, this guy's that fast, or this guy's this fast, or remember when this guy ran that? And, now it's nostalgia. So it's just a thing that has progressed into something that's more watchable than it really should be.
Yeah, I got to put up Crimson's comment because it's hilarious. So Crimson, shout out to Crimson, man. So he goes, so the combine is an organized sports competition for entertainment and profit. How's that so different from the NFL? Like it's all the circus. Like really, if you're really talking about it, and that's sort of where I agree with you. But it's no different than the regular circus that we watch on Sundays. Right. In this case.
Okay, kids, let me ask you a question. I'm going to challenge you in a real way. And don't give me no bullshit, because I know you guys. I'm going to call you out if you get it wrong. Now, your son is a football player. Kids, people don't know that your son is a hell of a football player. I've seen his film. The kid can play some football. He's an edge rusher. Let's just say your son was projected in this 2025 draft in the top 20, and it's consistent across the board. Consistently. And he's invited to the combine, knowing what I just got through telling you, that your next move could be your last one, as far as until you get to that room where they give you that pen and you sign that contract for X amount of dollars that you've been planning on for a long ass time and working your ass off to get to that point. Why you going to tell me that you're going to tell your son, go ahead and do this combine, kid? Go ahead and do the combine. Well, Dad, you know what? Just a lot of high impact, drills they're asking you to do. What if I blow something? You gonna still tell him to do that? Really? Come on, kid.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna.
Dog. Come on.
You're just like what you did. You just made it more personal for me, but at the same time,
it should be, because these are real.
At the same time, I would totally suggest that he goes and he destroys it for the world to see. Go put yourself on a bloody pedestal for the world to see, so that there's no questions and no doubt in anybody's mind about what you can do on the field. That's what I would say. Straight up and down.
What would you say to B- comment? He says Shedeur is not competing means that some team told him not to.
I don't know if it's some team. I'm pretty sure it's probably his daddy,
and Dion would know, wouldn't he?
Well, Dion competed in the combine, didn't he?
Dion had
ran right out the back door. He ran right out the door.
Time in a different space, man. Different time, different space.
He ran right out the door. I think it's one of the legendary stories in football, period. I don't know. If I was Shedeur, I would go out there and I would play football, man. Like, the reality is, this is a pretty poor draft class for quarterbacks, and I think we would see that across the board. So I'm just being a jerk right now.
But go out there and look like the number one pick.
Look like the number one pick given your draft class, right? Like,
don't not perform and then have what's his name, Cam Ward, go out there and look like all world. And it's like,
our guy Crimson can I got Crimson, man. Shout out to Crimson, man. One of our super no maniacs.
Like in that scenario, I can understand.
He understands the logic. He said,
I
if
get it a
you're
little
top 5 to 10 pick, maybe sit out.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? Where the conversation is the conversation, but where it tends to bend and flex and be pliable is where you think you are for sure you're going to get some money, and a lot of it. Why would you risk it?
See, like in that respect, I have to agree with you a little bit. Like if you are in jeopardy of damaging your reputation, for all intents and purposes, you may want to sit out Caleb Williams.
But notice he said damage your reputation, not avoid injury.
Well, that might also
Caleb set out the whole entire combine and was drafted number 1.
Yeah, he was.
What does that tell you, though? Really, if it was people out here that were questioning his deep ball, questioning this and questioning
nobody was questioning it until after he got drafted and played and threw the deep balls.
I never thought he was that accurate.
We didn't see that. I wish I saw that at the combine because I didn't see it in the tape either.
I told you guys that he was not accurate in the pocket. The accuracy went up when he left the pocket.
You didn't tell me that. Like I'll say that. I'll tell you what you told me. What you told me really was not so much in relation to Caleb. It was more in relation to Jaden, and that Jaden was a more pro-style, pro-ready quarterback than Caleb. That I agree. I agree with that. But I evaluated Caleb. I did not see the deep ball being a major problem. I didn't see that being a major problem. I saw him taking liberties. I saw him dancing around. I saw him holding the football. Those are the problems that I saw on film. I didn't see the deep ball. Now we see the deep ball. I was like, oh, bro.
And it's an issue.
You know what I mean? Like, well, what are you doing?
But now, had he been out the combine and thrown that deep ball, be like, hey, so with that deep ball.
Hey, Cornelius Walls asked an interesting question. He says, our guy Cornelius says, don't most of these top guys have insurance?
The top guys got the Lloyd's of London type thing, but everybody at the combine is covered under their insurance.
Yeah, I think that insurance is only going to go so far. You're talking about a lifetime worth of money, and a couple lifetimes of your generation. You're talking about generational money. You know what I mean? You can get one large payout if you mess yourself up. Man, dude, that is I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you straight up. I wouldn't be pressed to do it.
Well, that's why they got the insurance policies, because it's not like these NIL kids can't afford it. So they get the Lloyd's of London insurance to cover them for, well, I'm expected to sign a $20 million contract. What will you cover me for? And that will obviously be above and beyond the generic combine coverage that covers everybody equally, probably.
You see, that's a very important factor you brought up, man, because you're right. At the combine, they do give them some low level of insurance. You also get, obviously, you get insurance as part of your rookie deal, and then a much bigger insurance package as part as your first NFL deal, like your real deal after the rookie contract is over. But these NIL kids are getting paid, right? Like these kids could easily be coming in with Lloyd's of London, and they should be okay moving forward. And it's still sort of a new thing, this NIL situation. So that's a really good question. I would have to expect that these guys actually probably are going to the combine now fully insured.
Yeah.
I'm sure their agents, would insist on it.
Well, if you're getting paid, bro, you know what I mean? Like, protect yourself. You might blow an ACL here next week. You never know.
Or like the kid, was it a UCLA or USC? One of the offensive linemen, was bench pressing or something, or he blew a pec, or he did something, blew his knee, and then he still bench pressed. He had a lower body injury, I think, and still did.
Who you're talking about? Big boy.
Yeah, offensive lineman.
Yeah.
USC.
I'm blanking.
Like Guard, I think, or somebody.
I'm blanking.
But he hurt himself. I think he maybe blew a knee or he did something, but he still, did the bench press with his leg in a brace.
Look at that. So Smitty Q is saying Shador and Hunter have $20 million insurance policies. So That makes a lot of sense. Shedeur is likely getting some, especially given who his dad is. That would have helped negotiate some sort of NIL situation for him. So I'm sure he's getting paid. He's doing well. He's doing decent, and he can put that kind of money towards something like that. Same token, his dad could have put that kind of money towards something like that without it being an issue. So
if you got in mind, I'll answer a quick question.
Voorhees, that's his name, Voorhees. Thank you, Smith.
Yeah, I remember that. Voorhees.
Yo,
White Ghost asked, he says,
You're
if James Pierce Jr. is there at 10, would you select him, no man? I'm gonna be honest with you, White Ghost. I don't see James Pierce as the 4-3 edge as I think a lot of people see him as. I would say that there are probably 4 or 5 to maybe even 10 players that I think will be more effective in this defense that Dennis Allen runs than James Pierce. I think he's a speed edge rusher, and that's it. I think he's more of a pass rusher than he is an edge. And so on tape, you see some of the deficiencies in, holding the edge against the run and, just really being a force in the run game, because you need to be dual in the NFL. You need to set that edge. And people ask me the same question about Mike Green. As much as I love Mike Green, I think Mike Green's a pure pass rusher. That's a difference between being a pure pass rusher and a 4-3 3-down edge rusher. You need to be able to stop the run too and be a force in that part of the game too. Or else, people like Von Miller make a lot of money being just a pure pass rusher. I think James Pierce is going to fall into that category. He's going to be a pure pass rusher, and that's what it is with him. I don't see him as a force in the run game. He seemed to get better over the last couple of years, but I don't see him as a force to stop the run. And so I wouldn't get him at 10. I think, it's several players that I would draft before him, and that's just my opinion. Who knows what the Bears are going to do? But thank you for the comment, White Ghost.
Well, not the one, but one. I haven't seen any of the full interviews or clips. I've just seen clips from the combine. But one that I did see, I can't quote who said it, but it was maybe Ian Rappaport that said that there are many players in this draft who could go from 10 to 35. So it's that kind of a draft where everybody's kind of talented, but there are only very, very few upper echelon guys. So obviously it takes 2 to tango, but at 10, you got to trade back and get some more of that sweet spot area.
So let me ask FFG. I got FFG, Super No Man. Shout out to FFG. He says, no man, can you tell me the last O-lineman that boosted his draft stock at the combine? Because we need several of them. I'm not qualified to answer that, man. I don't really look at the combine intently enough to tell you.
That's a really good question, FFG, and I'll answer it this way. That's probably that's the one collection of positions that the combine doesn't do a great job of evaluating. Like I have to be honest there. It maybe 3-cone drill. You know what I mean? There's really not a lot to evaluate an offensive lineman, man. Like you're looking at length and measurements and actual measurements more so than anything else. Play on film more so than anything else. I couldn't really tell you about an offensive lineman who has upped his stock. Defensive tackle, defensive edge rusher, cornerback, you know what I mean? Like tight end, wide receiver, running back, all of those other positions for sure, but not O-line.
Well, Smitty also commented that Darnell Wright was projected a 2nd-round pick, but he jumped up to the 1st. Obviously, was that number 10 that we got him at? But he was also on the board with that really big mountain of a dude at right tackle that I was like, well, he's a big dude, but he's not really a scheme fit.
Talking about DeJuan Jones that went to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was DeJuan, there was Peter Skoronski, who again had the shorter.
But that's the thing with offensive linemen. As Greg Gabriel would say, don't want no short arms.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't think the combine has shit to do with it.
No, because they measure their arms and it's like, yeah, he got those.
I'm talking about Darnell Wright. I don't think the combine has shit to do with it.
Well, he did have a good showing. I don't know, between the projections, the combine, the private workout, and draft day, he raised his stock somewhere in there.
I don't know if that's a fact. Like I think honestly, I think Ryan Poles, Ryan Poles actually worked out a bunch of these offensive linemen. He worked them out personally, and he really liked Darnell Wright, and that was the guy he chose. Wright was projected, if not pick 28 to 32, or a little bit later earlier into the second round. That was his projection. Ryan Poles selected the guy that he wanted at the pick that he had. That's what he did. And I don't blame him. That was the guy he wanted. If he traded back, he might have gained some capital. And that's my thoughts on the situation, especially given the fact he tossed away a couple of twos. But he selected the guy he wanted at the 10th pick, and that's how I see it.
And nobody's mad at it.
No,
nobody's mad with that, right?
If you guys remember, you get to thinking about the detailed conversations that Ryan Poles was having when it came to Darnell Wright. I can remember him talking about when they were at the combine. They were sitting in a classroom where the coach was coaching those guys up, trying to get them ready for the actual Senior Bowl. And he was sitting behind Darnell Wright, and he was noticing some things about him. Remember that? Remember those conversations? He was sitting in the room and kind of focused in on him and trying to look for some shit. It was that, and then when they brought him in for his workout before they drafted him, when he took him through all the crazy drills that the offensive coach wanted to do with him, the O-line coach. I think that was what sold him on Darnell Wright. I don't know that the combine had anything to do with that.
And there are a bunch of no maniacs calling kids a big fat liar.
Okay, yeah, and I'll speak to that. Yes, he did. One up above that. I'll hit it. Yes, he did trade twice, but what did he really get from the second trade? He didn't get all that much from Philadelphia, man. He could have traded
Tyler Scott, baby. What you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I mean, he could have traded a little bit further back and got a little bit more capital, knowing that DeJuan is still up there and folks were probably going to grab DeJuan. But it's a safe, in that respect, I would be a bit of a gambler. I don't think Ryan was really in a position to gamble. He needed to get his linchpin right tackle, and he got him. So I'm not mad at him.
You're talking like Minister Charles. Mr.
What?
Charles is saying it. He said, I think Wright was just high on Poles' board, and he wasn't missing out. And
that's exactly what I'm saying.
He needed to see before combine and any of the pro day shit. He confirmed what he thought about Darnell Wright, and it didn't take all that other stuff to do it.
I don't think the projections take into account the scheme fits of players and systems. Whereas DeJuan Jones wouldn't have fit the scheme, whereas Darnell Wright did. So that put him right ahead of Jones on Poles' board. Whereas, on other teams' boards, it could be vice versa. So that plays into it as well. And something that I also heard Ben Johnson talk about, and player-wise, that is different than what goofy-ass Flus was talking about last year and looking all, I want him. Whereas Ben Johnson is like, here's how we're going to approach this analytically. Here's how we're going to approach this football-wise. We're going to lean on the talent of this coaching staff and get their opinions because they are experienced as well as young. They are been around the league as well as some is this their first time, but they all know ball. And they're all very intelligent. They're all very high football IQs. And it's like, these are the kind of players we're looking for. And Poles has shown that it's not about, well, I want this guy, and this guy. Here, coaches, make that shit work. It's like, nah, it's like, hey, coach, what you need? and Poles goes out and finds it. And so that's something comforting that I find that in this draft where the competition is so close and everybody's, quote unquote, so even in projections that they will be able to identify what they want as far as players, the analytics, the speed, the size, the playability on the film, that they will identify who will fit this scheme. And it's just, we hope that they make the right choices, obviously.
Well, let me wade in here because we spent the first 50 minutes and all I had to say was combine. And I think I started this because I'm not that big fan of the combine.
That was all your fault.
Continue. It is. I ain't gonna lie, man. It is my fault because I started it because I'm not that big a fan of the combine. It's great, just for entertainment. You ain't got shit else to do. Watch the combine, But don't escape the tape.
I don't, and I will.
Don't run away from the goddamn tape. And that's gonna always be the Bible, man. That's gonna always be the Bible. But let me swerve this conversation in the direction that we started. And I mentioned combining, and we took off on it for 50 goddamn minutes, and that's great. It was great content, man. There's gonna be some good shorts that come out of this. But okay, so kids, you said you saw some interviews now, and you said you saw Flus, and you saw not Flus. I said Flus. What the fuck did I say that for?
Number 32 ranked head coach.
Yes, I heard about that shit. I was waiting to say that. You stole it.
Yeah. I heard about that bullshit. But hold on, before y'all snap on that, I gotta get y'all on. What did you see? Anything stick out to you, kids, between Poles and Ben Johnson that really stuck out to you? Never mind what we were just talking about, but anything personally that stuck out to you that you just remember.
Well, if we're talking Ben Johnson, just to start out, looks like a man with a plan. Looks like a man who believes in what he says. Like the things that are coming out of his face, he believes those things. He also looks like a guy who isn't a football cliche machine. So these last two coaches, who I'll just skip their names, but both of these guys were just regurgitating coach speak. I haven't heard a lot of coach speak, quote unquote, from Ben Johnson yet. I'm sure it'll show up sooner or later, but I haven't heard a lot of it. I've heard actual talk that makes sense. Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna lean on analytics. I didn't hire my friends. That's one of the things that resonated with me. And there's definitely a couple of friends. Let's be real about it. Antoine Randall. I want to run that clip so bad, and we're gonna. I gotta run it sooner or later. Just his introduction, Antoine Randall. It's a dope introduction. Anyways,
you do remember now he is the assistant head coach, right?
I'm saying that's his friend, and that's cool. That's cool. You gotta have people who got your back, but you also have to have people who will challenge you, right? You also have to have a sounding board to lean on. And he's got all of these things collected into his staff. And I'm impressed. The only guy he's the guy that everybody's like, so what about this guy? And that's Declan, right? That's Declan Doyle. It was
it's also teeing up the next guy. That's also part of that fraternity that they're a part of. I know
that's what it is. That's exactly what, and that's what his answer was, right?
I got homies that's in it, man. It's always about setting up the next guy and getting the guy behind you ready to be able to step into a role that he probably deserved to be in. And more, I think it's more or less, it probably is some friendship to it, probably a lot of that. But I think he knows that Randall L is a quality motherfucker in that locker room that can really bring something to the table. And I lean on this guy for all kinds of advice. And I'm telling you, this guy's. I think that's what this was all about. He thinks a lot of Antoine Randall L and thinks he'd be a great head coach, and so he's teeing him up. And there's also friendship involved, kids. I believe
definitely,
yeah.
Definitely. I think that we haven't seen yet because the combine is just really starting. So once we see the interactions of how Johnson and Poles are during the drills, how are they talking to each other? How are they, conversing? Are they taking notes? Are they sharing? Whereas, Flus was all up under Poles' armpit. This may be different or won't, but we won't know. But I do know that, Coach Ben Johnson is somebody that said he would castrate himself for the Super Bowl. And it's you got to respect that.
What? I don't.
Well, he doesn't. Well, he said, his wife had already been hollered at him about, look, we got 3 kids.
Oh,
there's a Game of Thrones joke in here somewhere. I got to find it, man.
So he said, both testicles. And the interviews was damn, we would only want one. He was like, "Hey, both of them. I don't need them no more.
Take them. I got kids already. Take them.
I got 3 of them.
You
know
know,
what I mean?
I tell you,
he's not trying to go out like who was Reeves, the quarterback, Rivers. With 18 kids.
Oh, okay. There people have children out there.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things that stuck out to me. And the questions that I had and pretty much everybody over here on the network had was about the leadership traits. Are you a leader of men? I've seen him on multiple platforms say that question really irks him. And he's out to prove the question about, is he a leader of men?
Oh,
you're a great coordinator, but are you a leader of men? And I've seen him answer that question, and they brought it to him in different ways. They didn't just come out and say what I just said. Are you a leader of men? No, they broke it to him kind of softly, and just being gentlemanly about it. But he knew it was that question, and the way he answered is, that's one of the things that irks him in this process. The word is that he's being told that he's not a leader of men. And so, we're talking about a guy that's going to go from being in a position room and being in the offensive room, going to playing dealing with the whole enchilada. And, listening to him on how he was going, basically the best thing I heard him say was, I trust. And when it was asked about, Dennis Allen and what they're going to be doing on defense, are you going to have input on that? And he was just like, dude, listen. That dude has skins on the wall and he knows what he's doing. I believe in what he can bring to the table. Yes, I'm going to go in those rooms and have conversations with him about what to do here, what to do there, but I'm going to lean on that guy. And he's got head coaching experience for a lot of different, I know that if he keeps that mindset and just lets Dennis Allen run this defense and concentrates on his side of the ball, which is why he was hired. They basically set this up so that Caleb can have a sounding board and we can set this offense up in a way that can be beneficial to him. I think basically what I heard him say was, I'm going to lean to the offensive side of the ball, and that's where my home is, and that's where I'm going to be at. Dennis Allen's got that shit over there. And that's the best thing they kept, what's his name? Richard something, Hightower. They kept him for a reason. He can run the special teams. And so I think that's probably the most encouraging thing I heard. He's not going to be one of those just overbearing like Flus was, trying to be fucking everywhere, doing all 22 with the quarterback as a defensive coordinator. This shit was ridiculous, but that was probably the most, I guess that's the thing that I took away from it that made me feel the best. And the whole thing about playmakers everywhere. They just want to get playmakers and they don't care where they get them.
Well, like I say, the thing that jumped out to me is he sounded like a normal person. And, looking back, Matt Eberflus was always going back to, execution and, the hits principle. Like that was everything. Iron sharpens iron, right? Like there are like 7 things he had lined up to say for 4 years of his career. And he beat the daylights out of those things, just like Matt Nagy did, right? He was like the wise, and we're still looking for him to this day. But here we are, right? But this guy actually came out there and he's saying he's answering these obvious inquiries intelligently. Yeah, I thought about that. I thought somebody was probably going to ask me about, whether I'm a leader or man. So let me hit it. How are we going to use the analytics? Oh, damn. Thanks, Greg. Thanks for asking about the analytics. Here's what here's a little idea as to what we're going to do. I like this guy so far. He sounds like a very intelligent person with some level of a plan and confidence in his ability to do this job. All of those things are perfect for me as a fan watching a new coach come in. Again, comparing him to the last couple of guys who seemed like they had their specific wheelhouse and head coaching wasn't really in that wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, I enjoyed listening to both those guys.
They had their phrases, their keywords, their cliches. Whereas Ben Johnson is just kind of like, hey, what up? Oh, you got a question? Well, let me answer that because I've thought about it. I'm very intellectually bound, but I'm also a realist and understand that the real world happens. So I'm gonna talk to you in plain English and answer your goddamn question, which is something that we're not used to here. We get the coach speaking. Oh, I got to look at the film. Oh, I don't know. I got to check the tape.
Yeah.
Now obviously that's after games, but even in this part of the season where Nagy was just whatever and Flus was just hits, what's up your sleeve? You asshole. So now we got a coach who is the CEO who's like, hey, I'm an offensive guy. I'm going to call offensive plays. Guess what? I hired an experienced defensive coordinator. Do your thing, coach. Hire who you want to hire, coach. What players do you need, coach, to make your defense better? I'll holler at Pauls, but I'm going to still be on my side of the football on the offensive side. Designing an offense for my young, franchise quarterback. That's the kind of stuff we want to hear as fans. Obviously, he has to follow it up during the season, but so far, so good.
So let me ask you guys a question, man. Now, and I'm gonna set this up in a way that I know all y'all can relate to, and that is, I'm listening to. If you heard those interviews, then you know that he's gonna coach Caleb Williams pretty hard. He's gonna basically take him down to the studs and try to rebuild Caleb Williams and try to take away some of those bad characteristics we saw. And Caleb Williams had good characteristics that we saw too, but there were some bad traits that he showed up on film, and he's going to take them and break them down to build them back up. How do you think Caleb Williams is going to respond to being coached hard? Honestly, kids.
He wants it hard, baby. He wants it hard. He kept saying, "Hey, Walden, you gonna give it to me? You gonna coach us hard? Yeah, get your mind out the gutter, Canada."
I'm sorry.
He wants to be coached hard. I mean, because he said, "I want to be coached hard. I want to be coached."
He did articulate that, and I think it was important that he articulated that. I know you're worried about that. Huh?
He's supposed to say that shit. I want to know when you put rubber to the road. When I know what it's like when you got a motherfucker in your face telling you, dog, you better get this right. I know what it's like.
Well, wasn't it? It was
struggle with that. I'm telling you, he's gonna struggle with it. I'm not saying he ain't gonna overcome it. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be as peachy king as people think it is. He's just gonna struggle with that. He's just abrasive in that way, I think.
Well, look at the comment that Caleb, or not Caleb made, but another comment that I saw, that during the Super Bowl, Ben Johnson's phone was just blowing up, and it was Caleb Williams, texting him about, whatever. But, Caleb's like, hey, coach, what we going to do this? While the Super Bowl's being played, he's looking forward to his head coach, building with him, developing him. Caleb Williams wasn't the only player that said that the 82 coaches, that not coaches, but the player reps, or whatever the hell they called, the you know what I mean, the leadership council or whatever. They was all like, hey, coach, can you yell at us or something? Do some coach shit.
Look, so the verdict is still out on this, and I'll just map this out now. So issue A is like, is Caleb Williams uncoachable? Does he not want to be coached? Is he a diva? Aspect B to this situation is like, were any of the coaches actually able to coach him properly, or let alone at all? Because there's wins in both directions here, right? I don't know if he's a diva. I suspect he probably is, because I would be if I was the number one overall Superman nicknamed quarterback. Like I would be, but that should be hold on. That should be expected. On the other side, though, there's also a lot of wins saying that Caleb had to go out of his way to build his own film room and have professionals, like folks, come and work with him that he's paying out of his own pocket, which is cool. He's making tons of money, but he's paying these guys outside of Hallis Hall to help him get better. I don't know which one of these two things is the truer thing. Verdict is still out.
Well, that's why I was getting in there, because one of the things that came out and listening to polls is this is another thing that stood out. Polls kept me and asked the question, is it some things that Caleb needs to, repair? What does he need to do? And those kinds of things. And the question was, that thing about work ethic was out there. Does Caleb spend all the time he needs to get himself where he needs to be? And I saw the energy, man, and I'm not trying to put nothing on Caleb that he doesn't deserve. I just read the energy when Poles was asked those questions in 3 different platforms. And he was really non-committal about it, but he made sure that when answering that question, he said that Caleb basically needs to learn how to, prepare like a pro. That's what
that's fair.
Do you understand what he's trying to say there?
I do, but you also have to read between the lines in what he's saying, right? So if you're reading between the lines, what he's saying is that Caleb clearly needs help in that area. He may not have been preparing in the right way. That also has another side to it, which is like the coaches weren't able to prepare him in the right way. Maybe he was not accepting the way that they were trying to prepare him.
Two ways to look at it, because there's 2 ways to look at it.
There's definitely 2 ways to look at it. That's sort of what I'm saying. Like, the one thing that I will say with respect to Caleb Williams is actually there's like 2 things here. He seems to be eager and he wants to be great, and like the chat is echoing that. And I agree with that. I also understand, and I didn't know about these text messages at the Super Bowl that Trip just brought up, but I also understand that he is and had been previously interested in Ben Johnson being his head coach. There was definite interest there, and that comes back from the that whole catfish tech video call thing with him, right? So he's answering a phone call thinking, I'm getting a call from Ben Johnson, right? Like, what? Hello, hey, who's this? Oh, it's not really Ben Johnson. Oh, this is a BS call. Oh, okay, whatever. Like, and that's basically what went down. And that's it took me a minute to understand how that transpired. But the St. Brown podcast kind of maps it out. And he kind of then starts in on Amon Ra with like, so what's he like? And Amon Ra's like, yo, he ain't coming to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, screw you, he ain't coming to Chicago. And like, lo and behold, here he is. So there was definite interest from Caleb in having this guy help him, move forward in his trajectory toward becoming, the Chicago Bears franchise quarterback. So that interests me as well. And it makes me feel a little bit less trepidatious about him working with Ben Johnson or Ben Johnson working with him.
Any thoughts on that, Trip?
Yeah, I think Caleb Williams is looking forward to working with Ben Johnson, knowing his offensive acumen and history, knowing that he's respected by all of the players that have played for him, and that he wants to be, a great player. I think Ben Johnson's looking forward to working with Caleb Williams. I think it's a good match, and I look forward to them, growing together.
All right. Well, how about this, man?
Nailed it.
Here's the thing, man. And this is the last question about Caleb. Will there be a learning curve? Yes or no? You can expand on it if you want to. Because a lot of people, you heard Ben Johnson, I wish he hadn't said that we can win now. I do believe that we can attack free agency and the draft in a way that can set us up for winning. But you got to realize that we have a quarterback in a brand new system, and that comes with a whole bunch of bumps and bruises, man. And it's about, I love listening to Ben Johnson talk about, how he's going to, when he gets him into the building, he's going to bring him back to his foundation and how to bring the huddle together, how to break the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage and call shifts, motions, and all that stuff in time. Now, that's the key thing, in time. And so you got X amount of seconds on the clock, listening to a play call come into your headset, and you got to relate it to them, know exactly what you're relating to them, tell everybody what to do, and then you get to the line of scrimmage and see exactly how you need to organize your shifts, your motions, any hot route that might come up, all of that kind of stuff. I'm listening to Ben Johnson talking about that. He knows that's the biggest conundrum. Getting him to understand that he's not familiar. He got a year in a huddle in an NFL offense where he was unfamiliar with that coming from college. You heard Pohl say that, this is one of the things that colleges do. They're not really preparing them for NFL football where they got to huddle up and, be in those stadiums and, deal with all the stuff that they have to deal with. He's going to really take Caleb back to square one. And you can naturally understand, if you really pay attention to this stuff, that he's going to struggle a little bit. I don't know if it's a little bit or a lot. I just know it's going to be a struggle. How much of it, I don't know if Bears fans are ready to deal with that. But I think Ben Johnson is softening, and he's making a cushion for it. He knows it's going to be a little bit of a struggle.
So I'm going to echo Cooper Howard out there just because he said it. Rest in peace to Michelle Trachtenberg. I am also going to admit I have no idea who she is, but I have respect for the
white woman actress. Yeah, let's keep moving.
Okay.
I think it's different. I think we're in a different generation, kids. Don't worry, we're in a different generation.
I just wanted to get it out there. Tragic. I heard it's not a good thing. I have respect for the dead. So, R.I.P. All right, so Bears.
Did you hear anything? You just
awkward silence.
What's that all about?
Hey, man, it was in the chat. We're talking Bears. He threw it out there. Yes, she did pass away. I did hear she passed away, but again, the name didn't really ring a bell for me. I've never watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like maybe a couple episodes here and there. I know that the little redhead was kind of cute on the show. And,
wait a minute, that wasn't Buffy. Buffy is a blonde, wasn't she?
Buffy is a blonde, but she was on Buffy. Clearly not as Buffy. She was one of the other chicks.
Oh, she wasn't Buffy.
No, she wasn't.
Roles. She plays this. I think I've seen her. I want to say in American Horror Story more recently, and she plays this mean girl type of role. I think, if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but she plays that kind of role. They ever seen the movie Mean Girls or know anything about it? It's just she's this snazzy, snotty ass, I'm better than everybody kind of character. That's all the characters I've ever seen her play. But shout out to her, and rest in peace. I don't know what happened to her. I have no idea what happened to her, but I know she passed away.
So she had a liver transplant, and unfortunately, it didn't go. Complicated. It didn't take. You're saying American Horror Story. I watched all of that, and I don't remember her.
I think I saw her in American Horror Story.
You watch Gossip Girl is what it really is, and you didn't want to admit. You didn't want to tell people
who. I watched what?
I don't know what that show is, but just the name of it is like, oh, okay.
Hold on. What did he say I watched?
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl. That's the show she's famous for the most part, to my understanding.
I've seen the Golden Girls.
Yeah, that was fun with B. Arthur and Betty White. Betty White's hilarious.
Betty White's my boo. Rest in peace.
She's hilarious.
All I know is she's known for those kind of roles. I'm telling you, dude, every role I ever seen her in, she's playing a mean female. I don't even know what no Gossip Girls is. I ain't gonna lie to you. If I saw it, I'd tell you. I ain't never seen it.
That's what they.
But anyway, do you remember the original question? We were talking about Caleb and being able to. Do you think there's going to be a learning curve? Do you think it's going? If you do you think it's going to be steep or kind of narrow?
I don't. So this is part of the reason why I appreciate it being Ben Johnson and having him be the guy, right? Because what he said in his first presser is that he's gonna do the same thing he did with Jared Goff, and this is why the offense is not gonna look like the Detroit offense. He's gonna sit down with Caleb and go, okay, like I've watched the tape. Here's what I think you're good at. Here's what I think you're bad at. What do you think you're good at? And Caleb's going to go, well, I'm really good at this, and this is what I like to do. I like to do that thing too, and then I can do this thing. And Ben Johnson's going to go, cool, all right. So we're going to work with all of them things you like, dude. We're going to roll all them things into this offense. That's what you like to do, right? Well, these are the things I don't ever want to see again. So we're going to take all this stuff out the offense. All right. Cool. We're on the same page. All right. So
I think what I'm trying to ask you is, are
I
you
know.
worried about the new offense?
No. And this is what I'm trying to say to you is that
are you worried about him hitting that wall? Because that is real.
oh, well, he may hit a wall, right? There may be a period of adaptation where he has to figure things out, right? Like any rookie and or second year guy in any job might hit a wall. So I won't say it's not possible. But what I will say is, what I will say is I believe we found a guy who's going to sit down, get into Caleb's head, understand between the two of them what the expectation is, put that together, right? And then roll out the offense. And that's the best way to do this thing, as opposed to coming in with a preconceived notion and taking the square peg and going, okay, square peg, you're gonna fit in this hole. No. We're gonna do it the other way. We're gonna make the hole.
All right, all right, Trips. Kids is tight roping the shit.
Well, I look at how what's his name? Kingsbury did with the commies and Daniels. He focused early on what Daniels was comfortable with, what he was good at, and built it from there. I could see, Johnson going, all right, Caleb, what are you good at? What do you want to run? What can we do? And he'll start with that. And then being that Johnson is a creative offensive mind, he's going to, pepper in some of his stuff as well. And then it's going to take time to get on the same page and, expand the playbook. But I don't really foresee any. It's like, oh, well, what do we do now? I don't know. I don't see a lot of that happening with this coaching staff and these players. It's more of, all right, what are our plays? We're going to have to take time to figure out what we do well. If we need a third and short, we're going to know that these are our plays that we will get them on, and not just having to go, well, it's 3rd and 1. Let's run a bubble screen because we don't know what else to do. It's like, no, we're going to pound up the middle. We're going to be a physical team. We're going to have an offensive identity. I'm here to say right now, I don't know what that identity is because we haven't seen the offense, but we will have an offensive identity unlike, previous seasons.
Okay, I'll say, now I agree a lot with what actually both of y'all said, but I'm gonna take it right here on the chin. This guy is gonna Caleb's gonna there's going to be, so there's a lot of people out here that believe that we're gonna get off to this high flying start because we got Ben Johnson. I'm not saying that's wrong, because I do think that they can attack free agency and this draft in a way that they can set themselves up for some early success. What I'm saying is, in particular, Caleb Williams with a new offensive verbiage, a new command of the huddle, new verbiage at the line of scrimmage. It's just a lot. It's a lot, kids. And I'm telling you, you got to expect that, this might not go as well as we want it to early with this quarterback. And that really can determine whether or not we're successful early or not, just by the fact that this quarterback could be a struggle for him, man.
So I'm a little bit less worried this time around, and I really have to impart that, guys. And I hate to be positive after two shitty seasons. Like they were not good seasons, but I'm actually a little bit positive here because of one thing. So what is the one thing we know? I'm not even gonna pose a question. The one thing we know about Ben Johnson, more so than anything else, is that he knows how to run the football. He knows how to make the run a part of his offense. And that was not working last year. Like, it was not. The run,
if you're not deep down, if you're not effective down the field, running the ball is going to get real mundane when the defense is looking at that offense. If you're not effective at taking the top off the defense and striking it on the
you're
deep
backwards, though.
No. Listen what I'm saying, kids. If you don't prove to this defense that I can take the top right off your shit and I can strike you deep on at any given time, they're going to gang up in the box. They're going to gang up in the box until you prove to them that you can strike them deep, and we got to loosen this defense.
But what if you prove to them that they can't stop you with 8 in the box? Like we had 8 in the box for Jordan Mason.
Nowhere near that.
What? But this is the point, right? This is the point. We need to have a run game. If the run game is established, it takes so much weight off the rookie's shoulders, and that was evident and obvious last season. Both you and I said this early into the draft. Whoever they draft, they need to have some level of a run game that works. They went out and they got DeAndre Swift. That was not the answer.
Kids, how many offensive linemen will we be on this line? How many starters do we have?
1.
So you talking to me and you're telling me that we're gonna replace, and I hope that this is true, that we're gonna replace 4 starters in a year. And I hope you're right. And in a year, I think there's talent enough in free agency and in this draft that can make me say, you know what, Nomad, dude, it's there. They just got to strike and hit them all. You know, you talking about being effective in the run game. You got to be effective in the front, and then that running back behind those offensive linemen can flourish.
Would you imagine that?
We've got to replace. There's no bullshit. There's the outside chance that Braxton Jones maintains his job. There's an outside chance.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Everybody else needs to be replaced.
It's funny because like Braxton and Coleman Shelton are the 2 that I have to sit down and go like, I don't know if you can really upgrade at those 2 positions just now. You might be able to, maybe both, but I don't care. Like at the end of the day, this offensive line must be functional. A, in protecting the kid. B, in running the effing football. That it's literally that simple. The football must be run. You must establish the run in order to take the weight off of Superman's shoulders, and then he can fight crime when crime happens.
First of all, stop calling him Superman. Stop doing that shit.
He calls himself Superman. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't do that. Don't add on to it.
I want him to be Superman. I want him, but at the same time, follow me now. I want him to solve crimes when crimes happen. I don't want him to just be rocking a cape, putting out fires. You know what I mean? Instead of the freaking fire department, he needs to fight crimes, bro. He needs to go and put the cape on when he needs to rise to the occasion. Kids, other than that, the offense has to work.
Kids, I got just one question for you. Everything I just said. Now, look at Victor's comments. Team stacked the box in plenty of games last season because they dared us to throw. You saw that so many times watching games with me, man. And you know what it is.
You're saying the run game was sound last year?
No.
And then I'm going to flip it now for you. And
no.
When we stacked the box against other teams, that they ran us down.
Dog, there was no threat. There was no threat to run the ball. I mean, throw the ball deep. And they knew it. And they just stacked up the defense to stop the running game. And there's nothing else left after that. And Caleb just absolutely struggled. The truth is, Caleb struggled to throw the ball down the field accurately, consistently.
Fair. These are fair comments.
So on film, that shows up. And so now we're talking about, and this was an offense that he was accustomed to the entire year because they started the season with it. They started training camp with this. It ended up being another person giving him the plays, but it was the same offense. And now we're talking about an entirely new offense. And as excited as I wanted to get about this season, I just need to see how it goes. And I'll be able to tell, some of the stuff that I hear in training camp, consistencies here and there. But I'm telling you, kids, anybody that's going into this season expecting us to light up the world, I think I need to see.
I'm not sure if you must have missed me. I don't expect him to light up the world at all. He's a rookie. He needs to grow into who he is. And in order to do that, he's going to need some help. Where's the help come from? The help comes from relying on also, like, on the ability to also rely on running the football. It's literally that simple. You need to build the line. You need to be able to run when you need to run. We couldn't get any more than 3 yards. Like, you count the long rushes last season on one hand.
Who do you blame that on?
It's a collective issue. It's a collective issue. Obviously, and you nailed it a minute ago. The offensive line was suspect across the board. Not to mention, they were also hurt most of the time. And Nate Davis just didn't want to play. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that. But then there was also the factor that, Roschon Johnson just runs directly into people. Doesn't look for any sort of hole or lateral. It has no lateral movement. He just runs. He's just truck city every time he gets the rock. And similarly with DeAndre Swift, just really nothing doing. Just nothing doing.
This is the last thing I'll say. And we get Tripp's take on it. In the defense, there's going to be that coordinator is going to structure this defense in a way that okay, we're going to play this. Let's go out and base. All right, let's go out and base. Let's just say we're going in Fluce's defense. Let's just play base cover 2. Okay, Caleb shows me that he sees the holes in the defense. He hits slants. He hits some comebacks, and can find the holes in the defense. All right, we need to get out of the cover 2. We're going to play cover 1, and we're going to press them a little bit. We're going to come up to the line of scrimmage. We're going to really come after them. Let's see. We're going to leave both the receivers, the X and the Z, one-on-ones. Let's see if Caleb can see what we're doing and then dial up and be accurate down the field. At no point during the season did I see Caleb in that second phase of what I just described being able to execute. What I'm saying to you is, as much as we want to talk about the O-line, as much as we want to talk about the running backs, it is Caleb Williams who's going to have to be more accurate down the field. He's got to be. He's got to strike. Yeah, when those opportunities come, he's got to strike them like a fucking rattlesnake in order to get that respect that he needs from that defensive coordinator. And that defensive coordinator will adjust. Once he strikes like a rattlesnake and puts venom in him, that defense will respond accordingly. I'm telling you, Caleb Williams is going to have to strike accurately down the field to get the defense to bend to his will.
No, and this is what I'm trying to explain. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, what you're saying, yes, he needs to do it. He needs to prove it, and he will. Right now, at this level, and it should have started last year. That shouldn't have been the modus operandi. And so, I think we got to go back to square one. And square one is get a bloody run game that works. That's square one. It's not even Caleb Williams. We can talk about Caleb Williams throwing the deep ball all day long, and it shouldn't just be him chucking the deep ball all day long.
Well,
it should be, hold on. It should be 2 backs pairing up, getting 4 yards apiece. Time after time after, not 3. 4.
You're muddying up the point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to tell you, in order for Caleb Williams and the running game to be effective, the offensive line to be effective, and the running game to be effective, there's got to be a threat down the field. Or else the defense, kids, yes.
And it's a requirement.
Or the defense constricts. Safeties come into the box. Linebackers come up closer to the line of scrimmage, and you're going to struggle to run the ball.
So what you're telling me is like, and I'll give you a bunch of examples now. So when Derrick Henry was in Tennessee, and their quarterback situation was a little bit shaky and sideways. You don't think they had 8 men in the box?
Whoa! You talking about Ryan Tannehill? You comparing Caleb Williams in his rookie season to Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah, no. I'm talking really. What I'm talking about is 8 men in the box. That's what I'm talking about. We need a run game that can be effective. It needs to be a run game where it's F you, stop me. That's the run game we need in Chicago. Period.
I think they're trying to set this up, kids. I think you misunderstand what I'm saying. In like you're talking about, you can be really effective in the run game. I think if you got the right pieces to be able to be really effective up front, and you got a forceful running back that's not going to take the first hit, and you're going to have to keep coming at me. But unless the quarterback is effective at taking the top off the defense, they will continue.
And that's where I agree with you.
they will continue to constrict that defense and really play down on you and go downhill on you.
I
And
agree.
eventually, that's not going to work. I don't care how good your O-line is, how good your running backs.
You're right. You can't have one without the other. You need to have both. But in this case, when you have a rookie, you need to have the other one. You know what I mean? Like, he's a rookie. He has to be given the ability to grow into who he's going to be as a quarterback. And last year wasn't it. Last year, all he was able to do was run for his life and make a couple of strikes here and there when he could, right? In spite of the offensive line, in spite of the lack of the run game. We need to establish the offensive line. You need to have a run game for him to lean on so that he's now just called upon to hit those deep balls. And if he misses all the deep balls, he misses the deep balls, and he's not the guy we thought he was. Like, I'm so with you, but the other piece is missing. It needs to be established.
And the Caleb Williams piece is, yes, he has to convert on the opportunities when given, short and deep.
And deep.
But what we are not taking into account is the $15 million head coach who's an offensive mind. He's going to coach, these players, specifically the quarterback, Caleb Williams, on here's where the ball needs to be at this time. If it breaks down, then you can, do your scramble thing or whatever. But I can just tell from Ben Johnson the way he talks and seeing what the Kitties offense did, even though he said it will be totally different, but he knew how to take advantage of, play action and having a quarterback under center. He knew how to take advantage of running actual slants, which we never did. And as the defense rolls up, now you got to capitalize on those deep shots, which, that Lions offense did. Obviously, this quarterback being more mobile than Goff, there's going to be more bootlegs, more rollouts, more opportunities for Caleb to be athletic on the field. But yes, when it comes down to hitting those deep shots to whoever the receiver is, he's going to have to be on point with those. But coaching matters. And if Waldron is not, coaching, him up as a rookie, he's just kind of, figuring it out for himself. And we saw Waldron's offense, that didn't help the kid develop at all.
No.
So with the coaching, which matters, with the better offense, which matters, and a better offensive line that matters, there's no goddamn reason that he should not be able to connect on whatever pass he throws, being the prospect that we think he is and that he believes he is. So with the coaching, with the offense, with the better surrounding cast, better running game, better offensive line, there's no excuse not to be successful.
There's other pieces to this, though. Just RPO and being under center more frequently. Those two things will also impose the threat of the run game if it's established, but you have to establish it.
So let me ask you guys a question. Now I'm talking about in real time. You talking about Caleb Williams. Let's say game one, whoever we're playing against. Game one, we go into the huddle. Caleb goes into the huddle. Matter of fact, he's gonna know. Basically, they say the measurement is how many of these coaches script up their first 15 plays. That became an issue. People talking about this year, and I was like, okay, that really is about what coach that's calling the plays. He might not be like, okay, I'm not gonna script the plays. I'm gonna call them in real time because I'm gonna feel the game. And so people don't think there's a world where those two things exist. It can, you can script the plays all you want to, but it might not come down to, you being able to get those plays off. So here's what I'm getting at.
Waldron, man.
Hold on. This is what I'm getting at, man.
All right.
Okay, let's just say the first 7 plays in the offense were run plays. In the first game that we played this season, real game, regular season, the first 7 plays are runs. And Caleb Williams goes back to the huddle and just like, hey, man, you know what? I don't know if I agree with those last 2 runs. And he's like, hey, you know what? Don't worry about it because we're setting you up later on. And he goes back out in the next series. Let's say they didn't get the first down. And they go back out in the next series and they run another 3 or 4 more runs. Caleb Williams goes back to the sidelines and is like, hey, man, you gonna let me throw the ball today or not? The realism in offensive schematics is really you're trying to get your quarterback in a position to really use his talents. And you're trying to really basically say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make you respect this part of the game first before I really unleash on you. Can Caleb Williams take the fact that he's not going to be throwing the ball 40 times in the game?
When it results in one of these, yeah.
Okay.
It's literally that simple. If it turns into wins, you're going to shut up and do what you need to do. And at the same time, if I was Shane Waldron in that situation, that's where I go, hey, bro, you're the rookie. I know you're the rookie QB, but right now I'm trying to win a football game. You need to go sit on a bench. Go sit on a bench when you're ready. When I'm ready to have you throw it, you're going to throw it. But to get back to where you were here, with a rookie quarterback who has no understanding really of how to manage an NFL offense, you script the plays. It's just common sense. You can like the plays are, you should script the plays. If you, oh, wait a minute, they clued into what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do that here. I'm gonna be funky, I'm gonna change it up. You call in an audio, you call it in and go, hey, like we're gonna deviate from the plan. Cool. You deviate from the plan, you win that rep, you win that down. But you still come in with a plan. This way the kid knows what he's doing.
Don't get it twisted, kids. I'm not saying don't come in with a plan, but
but that's what that is, though.
Be rigid about that plan and not being
no.
Yeah, you gotta be flexible to the shit because we're gonna show you shit that you ain't expecting, and you got to be ready for that.
Of course, you like. Then that's what I'm saying. Be dynamic. Like this is what we're talking about right now. Is how not I don't know what the word is here. Like undynamic. How the lack of dynamism within Shane Waldron.
How about gray area?
It's not gray area. Okay, like there is gray area within a football game because again, it's a game that's being played. It's situational. You may have to flex, you may have to spin, you may have to twist, and you have to build that into what you're doing. But in order for the young rookie quarterback to understand what you're trying to do, you got to give him a plan. Here's the plan, guys. It's like friggin' Ocean's 11. We're gonna rip off this painting from this building. Here's the plan, guys. Oh shit. The security guard is on duty. He wasn't supposed to be on duty, but he's on duty. You gotta flex the plan. Like
let me help you out here because if you heard enough interviews, now I'm gonna say something, kids, and you can tell me if you heard this or not. You heard him mention Penei Sewell and he's talking about the offensive line and how to script your game plan. And I said this many weeks ago. And this is just me looking at the film of what Ben Johnson does on offense. And he features the offensive line and its strengths. And that was Penei Sewell. And he was talking about Darnell Wright in that regard. And he was just like, I feel like I'm looking at the same player in Darnell Wright. And we featured the best players. And so Darnell Wright was the best player on the offensive line. Feature him getting down the field. And so if that means you're gonna run the ball a whole hell of a lot more towards Darnell Wright, then that means that's gonna dictate what we do offensively. We're gonna let Darnell Wright get after people, and we're gonna design plays behind him. That might not sit very well with Caleb Williams because he wants to throw the ball and be dynamic. But it might get to what you're saying. Because I'm about to agree with you, talking about getting after people in the run game. And he sees Darnell Wright as that Penei Sewell feature. Let's design this game plan around getting behind Darnell Wright. Let's really get after people behind him. And so we're going to run the ball behind Darnell Wright, and that doesn't necessarily set up Caleb to be the most successful, the flashiest quarterback in the league because he's going to be playing second fiddle to the run game and the offensive.
Hey. Don't give a fuck about his personal stats. It's about winning the game.
I'm telling you, bro. I heard what I heard.
Whatever. I remember watching a game back in the day when Peyton Manning was playing for the Denver Broncos, And it was either they ran the ball like 18 times in a row or threw it 18 times in a row. Whatever was the case, because that's what the game plan called for. And if they need to run, the shit out of the ball, straight up the defense's gut, and Darnell Wright's leading the way, cool. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to complain because it's like, well, I didn't get 400 yards passing, and we got however many yards rushing and we won the game. As long as you win the game. If they have to throw the ball 40 times in a row, because guess what? That's what the game plan calls for.
I hope y'all right, because I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be one of those things, kids. I'm telling you, it's gonna be one of those things.
It's not.
All right.
What you're saying is that Caleb Williams is basically an egomaniac, and that's cool. He could be, and I'm not saying he is or he isn't. What I am saying is that this is a football team that's, for the most, they've won 9 games in the last 2 seasons total. So perhaps winning football games, like, he might like that. He might enjoy winning football games, and if he does, and this is the formula that's going to produce W's, you shut up and you follow the plan, you follow the formula. Like, that's what you need to do. Oh, well, I didn't get to throw the football 50,000 times today. Oh, well, that sucks. But we got a W. So, like, let's be happy about the W instead of sucking our thumb.
We're gonna see, kids, and you know what?
Yeah, I'm not worried about that though. Like, I'm gonna be.
I am, man, because
I'm not. I'm not. And the kid went out every single game last season with semi-decent stats, all basically because we stunk and he was forced to throw the ball on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, his stats are elevated because, well, we can't run the ball. So, like, we're going to screen it over to DJ. DJ might get 15, 20 yards. We'll screen it over here. We'll screen it over there. Stats are elevated. What if we can actually run the ball? Oh, well, snap. Maybe his stats will go down, but maybe his completion percentage goes up. There's so many different ways of looking at this that W's is the most important factor. That's all that matters.
Hey, kids, let me ask you a question. Have you checked out Miles Frazier? The last video I did was about Miles Frazier, offensive lineman, offensive guard, tackle out of LSU. And what I tried to make clear to everybody in that video was, if we went to the draft instead of paying, Trey Smith as a guard, we went there. You're talking about a dominant featured fucking player. I'm telling you, you watch Miles Frazier on film, you're going to see that he's a dominant piece. You put that motherfucker next to Darnell Wright, and you're talking about an explosive running attack. And you can almost put anybody behind that guy. You put those 2 guys on the edge, and you say, you know what, set this up. Let's set this play calling up in a way that features those 2 guys and them getting after people the way they do. And you got an explosive running game. And now you're looking at, hopefully you're right, man. I'm not saying that you're wrong about Caleb not being able to accept that he's not the focal point of what they're doing. I hope you're right.
I don't think he has a choice.
I hope you're right.
I don't think he has a choice, because, and this is like, what's funny about this is again why you bring in the coach and the rookie quarterback at the same time, because you have to establish that relationship. And part of that relationship is going to be, hey, here's the game plan, bro. Oh, there's no game plan with Shane Waldron? Oh, well, like, I'm going to throw the ball 100 billion times, right? So here's the game plan. We're going to run the rock. That's how we're going to beat this team, and we're going to lean on you to do X, Y, and Z. That's how we're going to beat this team. That's the plan. You dig? Cool? It's not really a question of whether you agree with the plan or not. That's the bloody plan. You
right.
follow the plan. You know what I'm saying?
All I'm asking y'all is how you think he would respond to it. That's all.
Well, the thing is, it's not a dictatorship. Johnson said that Williams will have input, on the game plan, on the plays.
Yes.
So it's not like, Caleb Williams is being forced to, hand the ball off 30 times a game and not, throw it. So it's going to be all part of the plan.
He should be handing the ball off 30 times a game.
Well, not force, not
You know what
against.
I'm saying? Like he should be. Anything less than that is egregious and a massive mistake. And I guarantee you, if you go back and look at the stats, there was probably 12 games last year where we didn't hand off the rock 30 times. Just saying.
I don't know about 12 games, but I know that it came down to we couldn't run the ball effectively, and we got to get out of that, and we got to lean on Caleb to basically throw the ball and get us
on
spots. And to me, looking at the film objectively, I saw that's where Caleb flourished, where it was about him, and it's about him and his throwing ability to be able to, really affect the game. And it always came when it was way too late. And we watched that shit live. And I'm just saying that, golly, hopefully that when they establish this run game, get this offensive line where it needs to be, and they establish this run game, he can settle down and just be okay with, you might throw for 200 yards in a game or less than that, and you get the win. Can you be okay with that? That's the question I'm more or less asking, is as this offense morphs into something else, can he be okay with those kinds of stats?
Well, I mean, as a fan base, as a coaching staff, as a general manager, do you want players that are so selfish? It's like, yeah, we got the win, but I only had one catch. I only had so many yards. I only had so many passes. What the fuck are we doing? It's like, no, we got the win. Whatever you did to contribute, thank you. Let's keep it going. Your personal stats, that's a personal problem.
All right. Let's move the margin before we get stuck here, man. So let me get to this right here. Let me get this off the screen and get to these right here. Hold on, you guys. Got some news that everybody's talking about, and I'm unprepared, but I'm finna get up to speed right now.
The answer is no, but go
right now. We had some conversations going on down at the Senior Bowl, and the first person on the board is this guy right here, Ashton Jeanty.
Maybe
there was meetings down there in Indianapolis, and one of the meetings that came out is this is what everybody wants to talk about, is if we will draft Ashton Jeanty, 5'9", 215 pounds out of Boise State. What do you make of this, kids and Trips? I'll just keep my commentary out of it until the end.
So here's my quick, simple take on this. I trade back, pick 14, 15, get some capital. If he's available at pick 14, 15, yeah, hell yeah, I'll take him. That's my take.
There are just so many needs on this team that we can't really say until after free agency, because if the offensive line isn't addressed, who's going to block for him? So, I mean, what's the purpose of having him?
So that's
is he even, the best, prospect at running back?
And that's why we're going to watch all them running backs at the combine, baby.
And even if he is the best running back in the entire class, and it's like, well, we got to get him, because he's the best, so we got to have him. It's like, yeah, okay, I understand that logic, but there's just a lot you're putting in the kid's basket when there's so many other positions that need to be addressed. He seems like a luxury guy to where when the kiddies took, Gibbs early, guess what? They had a team full of players, and he was like a luxury pick, if you will, of need, but a luxury pick because they could afford to do that because they had, 4 first rounders on the offensive line. They had a defense that, at the time wasn't injured as like they were, but, was a good defense. So, it kind of made sense that they could afford to spend that pick at that time on a running back. But at number 10, with the needs that this team has, that's just a little too rich for our blood, in my opinion.
Well, Trips, I wonder if we jump to conclusions by saying, just assuming that this is gonna, if you draft Ashton Jeanty, is gonna be the number 10 pick. Say for instance he slides.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I want to trade back. So, like Kev was saying, if he's there in the middle, in the teams or wherever we trade back to, and he's still there, and we are taking a running back, okay, I could see that logic.
Look, I did a mock the other day, and I traded back. I don't remember who I traded with, but I wound up with a 14th pick. I got a second round pick out of the mix as well. So now I've got 4 picks within the top 100. Okay, out of them 4 picks, I'm going to take a swing at a luxury player come hell or high water, whether it's at 14 or 53, whatever it is. So hell, might as well take the luxury pick and make it an impact player right then and there at 14. I don't have a problem with taking Genty then, but you just taking him vanilla at 10, no.
Okay, let me do this, man. And this is just, what I see when I watch this football player. I'm not advocating that we grab him at 10, not at all. No, I don't think you should grab this guy at 10. No, matter of fact, I don't think this guy should be a running back. Should be priority very early in the first or second round. Yeah, I think you can wait a minute and get a quality running back. But when I see this guy run the football,
deep running back class, it is.
This is what I see.
Running back.
Exact same. I'm looking at the muscle hamster. This is what I see when I see running this ball, and I think he's a game changer. That guy. I watch him run the ball, and the way he sheds tackles is because he's so low to the ground. Just reminds me of this kid right here. I don't know how many people agree with this, but this is what I'm looking at when I'm watching this guy running the ball. It's almost identical traits and skill set. I mean, he is, and I really respect the shit out of Maurice Jones-Drew. I really respected him as a running back. I would not want to have to deal with him in open field. Never. Because he's so low to the ground. You gotta try to be the lowest guy, and you're gonna hit him in the meatiest part of his body, and that's his lower body. And so he presents a certain kind of problem. Now I'm talking about in comparison to Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty is a couple pounds heavier than him and a little taller. You know what I mean? So he's a problem. He got to see real competition for the first time when they played in that bowl game. And it wasn't a playoff game. And he got to see, what it looks like to face stiff competition. I think he will adjust, and I think he's going to be a great player in this league. Is he great enough to draft him at 10 or anywhere in this first or second round? Maybe somewhere late in the second round, but not early. I don't think so, man. As much as I think of both of these football players, I really like what I see on film. But, as good as I think Maurice Jones-Drew was in this comparison, I don't think you get that guy that early. Really, I don't.
All right.
Anything else on
that? No, just the shout outs to the No Maniacs. Victor, he was agreeing with me, so of course I'm gonna shout him out. That Genty would be a pick if we were 1 or 2 players away from going on a deep playoff run. And AC Adam, big up, said he's not mad at that comp at all between Genty and Maurice Jones-Drew.
It's a good comp, I have to admit. Things to say though. Wasn't a big fan of MJD, like as a player. I'm a bigger fan of him as a commentator. I'm a bigger fan of him as a player.
I want to know why, kids. That's all I want to know.
It had much more to do with Jacksonville at the time, Like he was definitely the thing holding it down on that team, but they were not much better off for it. I'll just in a nutshell. So, and the other thing is, like, when he plays Madden on a couch, his legs swing.
Hey, there you go, Tiny Town love again.
You better pray that if we make it to the big time and you run to that mouth, he's gonna slap the dog shit out you, man.
That's okay.
You'll have it coming.
I've got lawyers. There's lawyers out there.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
All right, here we go.
My 5 lawyers say to Maurice Jones-Drew.
Holy. Yeah, you're gonna beat your ass, kid. I'm just telling you. I'm warning you, my guy, but I'm telling you. Okay, here's the next guy that they interviewed down there, Kane Madrano, 6'3", 340 pounds. Let me take this off the screen for a second. Just do this, because this is something I've been pointing out recently, and anybody that's been following, the podcast and Feed the Bears, new stuff that we've been doing, I've been pointing stuff out so that people understand, what we should be looking for. Hold on.
And you came up with a linebacker?
Linebacker types. These are the guys that he plays with. Demario Davis, 6'2", 248 pounds. Starting linebacker for New Orleans right now. Pete Warner, 6'2", 242 pounds. Starting linebacker right now for New Orleans. And I was comparing him to Noah Sewell, who is also in the same height and weight range. This makes like I watched this film, and I'll be honest with you. There's a guy by the name of Carson Schlesinger. You guys saw that linebacker, one of the first, prospect shows that we did. I highlighted this guy, and I seen this kid on tape, and he's 6'3", 240 pounds. And I'm saying to myself, and they play him more like an edge rusher than a linebacker. And this is where shit can get different. He could be in the draft designated as a edge rusher, but Dennis Allen can see a linebacker, and I can see why he does. He's got range in the secondary, can move around and make plays. You'll see that over and over again, and he's a sure tackler and can run. He's got the height, the weight, everything that you need to be a Dennis Allen linebacker. And so what I'm saying to you guys is he's on my radar. I didn't put him on the board because I thought his comparison, that's the linebacker next to him, was better than him. But he's just a little shorter. And so this is interesting to me. I wonder, are they talking to him just because of him, or are they trying to get to Carson Schlesinger from UCLA? You guys remember that guy that we did on the first or second show. And so what did you guys think of him, or did you even check to see?
I'm not looking at no linebackers. Like, I can understand Dennis Allen looking for a linebacker. I'm just be real about it. But if you're saying that Noah Sewell somewhat fits the bill and he's barely made it onto the field at all, I'd say work with what you got in that respect, Dennis. You know what I mean? That's really what I would say, because there's gaping holes in other positions besides linebacker. Just there's two positions that I'm not. Three positions I'm not really looking at scouting this time around, and it's linebackers number one. The next one would be cornerback, because we got a bunch of them, and the one after that would be low-level wide receiver. Like, I kind of have to scout wide receiver because I feel like Ben Johnson might still get a wide receiver if he's got a luxury pick floating around in there. But linebacker is like the last position, in my opinion, that they need to put more money into, more investment into this season. Next season, potentially, because next season you're looking at a situation where you're probably actually going to cut bait on Terrell, right? This season, I just don't see it.
I don't know that it's only a linebacker Dennis Allen thing. It could also be a Sewell thing, because when he was on the field on special teams, he was active. He didn't get on much on defense, but he's always been hurt. So his unavailability might make him a liability, for this staff, and they may be looking to replace him. We don't know, because it's like, hey, dude, you're not healthy. You're not reliable. And that's been his main bugaboo. You're just a bugaboo. Bugging me. Bugging who? Shout out to Ed OG.
Nice.
So that could be an issue. Whereas it's like, all right, we may have to replace this kid because he's, can't make the tub from the club. Can't make the club from the tub. And he's always in the damn tub.
FFG wants to know, he says, no matter what makes him a great rush linebacker, timing and a sense, and the basically you got to have field intelligence and just have a sense of timing to know when to shoot and fire. As a player's developing, you got this guy's playing edge rusher, he's playing, middle linebacker, he's playing will linebacker, he's playing on the edge, and he's playing in the middle of the defense, and they're asking him to attack downfield. And, to be a great rusher, you got to have a sense of timing and feel for the game. And I mean, just know exactly when to really attack, go downfield, or get around the corner, or just really press. He's got a good sense of that, man. A really good sense of that. It's not a surprise to me that they would have him in for an interview, but I just wonder, are they interviewing him, or they're trying to get at Carson Schwarzenegger as one of the top linebackers in this draft? And that's the guy that's playing next to him. And, there's a guy that we talked about a couple times on the show. And I just, that's my thoughts on that. Let's get to the next guy. Jalen McLeod, linebacker edge rusher out of Auburn. This guy was actually going to be on the show 2 times in a row. The last 2 shows that we did, I decided not to put him on there because he's listed as more of an edge. And I'm just trying to get through a bunch of players. And we're talking about edge rushers. He was not going to be on the list. He's 6'1", 236 pounds. You'll see him playing more of that if you look at highlights. Now, if you look at games, you see the mixture of what a 34 defense has to offer. In a 3-4 defense, an edge rusher is more of a linebacker, and the linebacker is more of an edge. So you can have a guy of this size and weight and his kind of traits playing edge rusher, and he's explosive. Here's the thing, I can go on and on about that. This guy is really, really explosive on the football field. And I mean, if he comes to Chicago, Trips and Kids, he's going to be a linebacker. There's not going to be any, slash edge, slash linebacker. None of that's going to be there. Will he play along the edge, and will he play, some pass rushing downs? Yeah, because he's that explosive. He's like shot out of a cannon when you see them ask him to rush, whether it's from the middle of the field or it's on the edge. Whatever it is, he attacks downfield with fury. I mean, his presence on the field is known.
Well, here's a question. How's his coverage?
That's not shown. You don't see a lot of that because they use him. A 3-4 defense will have a linebacker play in different roles. I can't say that I like his coverage, but I know if he plays more of it, he can get more accustomed to it.
Well, I ask that because if he can cover better than Jackhammer, do you keep Jackhammer? Because he's a good run stuffer, but his coverage is like horrible.
For the money, you won't miss a beat. He's going to be on a rookie contract versus Jack Sanborn's going to get an upgraded contract. You want this guy, everything you like about Jack Sanborn, you will see in this cat right here. He really shows up on film, man. I just, again, I'm telling you, he's going to be a linebacker in this system if they draft him. But as he's lined up on draft boards, he's lined up as an edge, and he is less than adequate for a 4-3 edge. But as a linebacker, a backup linebacker, man, let Jack Sanborn get on about his business. I'm telling you, go watch the film. Go watch the film and you'll see.
All right. I got nothing. Because, again, we're talking about linebacker.
All right. So I know this. These guys know this guy. Because I just did him 2 weeks ago. Was it a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Don't remember. Jamari Caldwell, 6'1", 340 pounds out of Oregon. I don't know if you guys seen the shorts on it, if you care to, but I'm telling you, this is like watching Andrew Billings play all over again, but I guess a little bit bigger version of him. But holy shit, I was so pleased that they brought this guy in for a conversation. This guy he's a pure nose tackle. He's nothing else but a nose tackle. And we definitely know this, kids. We know we need a replacement for Andrew Billings. I'll just leave it there before I say anything else.
No, that's like he fits the bill 1,000,000,000%. There's it's interesting. The D tackle market this time around is really nice. And I mean, both the 3-tech and the nose tackle type exist in this draft, this upcoming draft. So I think they can really find a quality body, and Jamari is one of those guys. And the upside about Jamari is, again, you could probably get him a little bit later in the draft, and you can spend your capital on other things, keeping that front of mind. You got a 3-tech You have a secondary 3-tech who backs him up. So there's your Jervon and there's your Pickens. Then you got your nose, you got your Andrew Billings. But again, what happens when he goes down? Upside to this conversation is the actual answer to that showed up much later into the season, and that was Jonathan Ford. So Jonathan Ford will play this position and back up Andrew Billings to some respect, but we still need another guy by way of rotation in that respect, right? So by all means, they need to get a guy like this on this team for sure. And I like the idea of them looking a little bit later. I'm thinking like rounds 4 or 5 to fill this position this time around, knowing that Billings will be the starter.
At 6'1", 340, there has to be a sign on his back that all the time that says wide load. and what's Chroma's first name? Isn't it Jamari? Isn't it something similar?
Jamari. This is Jamari.
Oh, okay. All right, so, 2 of those similar names. Yeah, what could go wrong? But you get this guy later in the draft, you got to have the rotation deep enough that you can have the hockey lineups where it's like, all right, all 4 guys out, new 4 guys in. And if you're looking at Billings and Ford being those fire plug type guys, you bring this guy in, he's going to compete with them for that. And, maybe a Zach Pickens doesn't make the cut.
Well, there's no way they get rid of Pickens. It's just too early to do that. That's just my opinion. They don't have the luxury of cutting a Pickens right now because he's still on his rookie deal. But you still need a guy. You do. Maybe 2. Maybe a Pickens replacement.
Well,
you can get both in this draft, to be frank with you.
I don't know that Pickens is a threat in regard to this conversation, and I'm not trying to shoot down trips, but I think this is a specific, need that was identified, and who was the first up on the board, and who do you first need to have a conversation with? Who do you have a potential to drive at a certain point? And to me, it was clear so far. And when I said it about Jamari, and I did misspell it, Victor. I definitely misspelled this when I did this graphic. It's Jamari. It's Jamari. And we're talking about Jamari Chroma. This one is Jamari. I think I spelled this one right. But anyway,
I think there's an apostrophe somewhere.
Anyways. No, not in this one. Not in this one. I know that.
You got this one right. You nailed this one.
But this is one of those things that I pointed out early in the process. It's like we gotta find a guy that can, get behind Andrew Billings. And when he goes down, we've got another explosive nose tackle that can either, be that guy that can control a gap or 2, mostly 2 gap, and take on a double team. He's gonna require a double team because one-on-one block this guy, he's gonna make a difference in that game. And we brought him up for a reason over here at the Nomad Network, and I got to go ahead and grab the flag and say, for the sake of everybody over here at the Nomad Network, I don't know a motherfucker that was mentioning Jamari Caldwell before we did, but they will talk about him now, guaranteed.
No questions there.
Yeah,
we need a guy like that. We do.
All right, here's the last guy, and this was one of the first guys. And if you notice the graphics, this is when I first started to do graphics, when I first started to understand how to do them. This is our very first podcast that was about, all eyes on future Bears. And he was one of the first guys. And I remember this. I don't know, kids, if you remember this, but somewhere around, I think the first time we did a draft, kids, I think the first mock draft that we did this year, I think you asked me a specific question because we were going back and forth about, hey, Nomad, if we do keep the number 10 pick, if you're the Bears, who would you pick? And I'm just like, were you asking me or asking me if I was Ryan Poles? And I think you asked me if I was Ryan Poles. And this is what I would imagine they would do. If you go back to that show, you'll hear exactly what you asked me and exactly what I said. And I said that I think if they're at that spot at 10, I think they probably take Michael Williams. That's what I said. I remember mentioning it. What do you got?
He fits the bill, length, He's a little bit like he's the right in my opinion. He's the right weight. This adds for some additional speed. The question is going to be, what kind of tools does he have in his bag, and is he strong enough? Do you have opinions on those two little comments?
Yeah, man, he's both. He is like all right. Now I'm not Ryan Poles right now. I'm gonna talk about me, Nomad.
Yeah,
And
this is
I'll
you.
think about this guy.
Yeah.
Do I think he's better than some of the other impact edge rushers for a 4-3 defense? No, I think JT is better. I think Landon Jackson is better. And I think he's somewhere around third or fourth. And that's just my honest opinion about what I see them and how they rank up. I think JT and Landon Jackson are perfect for what Dennis Allen wants to do. I'm not saying that this guy, the thing about this guy, Michael Williams, is he's dynamic enough to give you some middle linebacker reps. Landon Jackson and JT Tuiamolau can't do that. And so maybe they're thinking about how dynamic this football player can be and what they can do. They can use him as like a Micah Parsons type of figure, just bigger and stronger. That's the way I see it. If it depends on how they want to draft this edge rusher position. What traits are they looking for? Are they looking for a dominant edge rusher as a 4-3 edge rusher only? Or are they looking for a dynamic piece that can line up in different spots? That's the question.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's not something that none of us can answer because we don't know. But as far as Michael Williams, the player, there was a question there in the chat that asked about his injury. Yeah, Victor Perez. I like him, but have to find out if his ankle is healthy.
Oh, he'll be all right. Young as he is, yeah, that shit ain't nothing. Nothing at all.
Well, here's why it's something. So, remember that left tackle we drafted in the third round last year? You remember Tevin Jenkins when we drafted Tevin Jenkins? Yeah. So, like, we have to be, especially with this pick, got to be cognizant, and they have to select a starter who is more or less injury free. And one more reason why the medicals at this combine is an important situation, right? They need to know that these guys coming in the door, they can start them, especially if you're standing pat at 10. Like, I really hope he can get out of that 10th pick. I really hope he's going for quantity quality within that top 150 picks. That's how I look at it, because there seems to be a bit of a logjam of talent in the middle.
I think you might have mentioned the key word in just being assured in what his injury status is, because we have to imagine a world that ain't ours and that ain't moving that 10 pick and moving back. If they plan on pouncing at 10 and they see this guy is there, questions about where you at in your rehab, can we bring you into the facility and get a good workout out of you? That kind of stuff is very regional and very important right now. That's very regional, because if they plan on pouncing at 10, this guy very well could be there. He's there in several mock drafts that I did. And it's just, that's just the algorithm, guys. It's, think of it what you will, but if they plan on pouncing, and I'm pretty sure there's two worlds of thought in that building that says, don't pounce at 10. And there's that world that says pounce at 10. This guy's a game changer. And if they pounce at 10, it would not surprise me whatsoever if they ended up with Michael Williams at 10 and they're trying to clear some shit up before they get to that spot. Very well, that could be where we are.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, because if we are looking at the just projections, you take Williams, at 10, then you address the offensive line with your subsequent picks.
Yeah. Again, they've got pick 10, they've got pick 39 and 41. So those three picks, you can do a lot of damage as far as really shoring up those massive holes on this team, whether that's at the edge like we're looking at here, whether that's at tackle and or guard. They can really do some stuff. Now, I will just continue to preach it. If you get one more, you know what I mean, one more in the middle there, boy, you can pick a luxury. You can make a luxury selection. And there's three positions that they have to sort of be conscious of, and those positions are running back, wide receiver,
Well, while we're talking,
and tight end.
While we're talking about this, let me make sure I'm clear with everybody why they may be really keyed in on Mykel Williams. This is Dennis Allen's type. Remember, we brought this up several times during many shows. I do it on Feed the Bears. I do it on the shows that me and FFG do, and I make sure I make this as omnipresent as I can make it, so that when we're looking at these players, we know exactly why they want to talk to this person or that person. This is why. Mykel Williams is 6'5", 265 pounds. Look at these guys right here. You got Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is probably not 6'4", 287 pounds, but that's how he was listed on the site that I looked at him at. And Carl Granderson, 6'5", 261. Chase Young, 6'5", 265. Exact same size as Mykel Williams. You see where I'm going, fellas? It's like you can just look at the film and you know what he likes. And so it doesn't surprise me whatsoever that Mykel Williams is high on their radar whatsoever.
Well, speaking of being high on the radar, this question FFG style asks, who do you think will be the loudest voice in the draft room if we pick at number 10? Is it, Coach Johnson saying we need, Genty or an offensive lineman or a trade back? Will it be Allen being like, yo, I need Williams or whoever? Who's going to be pounding the table at 10?
Guaranteed it depends on what we do in free agency. That's going to set the table.
Okay. That's going
to set the table for who's the loudest motherfucker in there.
That's a very good point. Free agency is key. The other aspect of this is, going into the draft, I'm sure they're going to settle on, to some degree, if they're on two things. A, are we picking at 10? B, what position are we picking at 10? Right? Because there's options here, especially if we're talking about the edge rusher position. Mykel Williams is a good look. James Pierce is a similar build, a little bit lighter and faster. Abdul Carter won't make it to where we're going, but I don't like the length. He's more of a joker. There's guys there in that area.
So, Kez, let's say there's a world where Ben Johnson gets everything he needs in his front to operate his offense, get everything he needs offensively, offensive line. Who knows what else he might get out of that? But let's just say he lays it on thick in the free agency for Ben Johnson to make sure that he fortifies that offensive line, which is what I expect to happen, to be honest with you. And then he goes into the draft and say, Dennis, go to work. Well, can you see that world playing out?
Well, only slightly. I feel like they will. I feel like they will aim at three specific positions in the offseason, two of which are your guards, right? I'm not sure if they're going to look at left tackle. They should. I'm not sure if they will. I'm not sure if they're going to look at center. They should. I'm not sure if they will. But I do feel like they're going to look at the edge rusher position. I don't think they have much, I don't think they have much leeway here to ignore that position again this free agency. Like they have to come out of free agency with one guy on the trenches defensively, likely out of the edge, because that's the most important place. One guy in the trenches, hopefully three on the offensive side. So like, you know what I mean? Like to me, I'm hoping that they get to the dance, they get to the draft with some answers already in place.
I hope what I just said provoked some thought, because that's how I think it's going to play out in the I guess in the free agent period. It's going to happen in about a week or so. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're going to really find out exactly what they have in play. Now, I'm not saying that Dennis Allen won't have a little bit of play when it comes to free agency. I think he's going to probably target Chase Young, and if they can't get him at the dollar amount that they want to get him at, I think that's your best next thing you can do, Mykel Williams. And so he knows what he wants. It's obvious what he wants. I've been trying to tell people what he wants. He wants a bigger edge rusher, a stronger edge rusher. And Mykel Williams, as impressive as he is, doesn't show up on tape the way Chase Young does. But if they can't get Chase Young at the dollar amount that they want, Mykel Williams is a great replacement for that. He can bring some similar things to the table with his strength in pass rushing. He's not a great pass rusher, not at all. He's a lot like
Chase Young, $15 million a year.
15. I get real close to it.
That's what I would offer. I'd offer a 4-year contract, 15, a bunch of upfront.
So 4 years, 60.
Yeah,
I get real close to that 15 million. No question about it. All you gotta do is look at Chase Young on film, and you know that, like, whatever people were saying about Chase Young, his luster might have gone, a little bit astray. But I'm telling you, what I see on film, and it ain't got nothing to do with how many sacks he got. It's the quarterback hurries, the quarterback hits. That kind of stuff right there changes games. And if you got a guy alongside of Montez Sweat that can do those kinds of numbers on a regular basis, like he did, dude, that motherfucker's every bit of worth $15 million.
Well, that could be a more plausible possibility if the rumors that Smith, the guard from Kansas City, they're talking about, re-signing him. And if that's the case and Ryan Poles is now, he can't go after him because he's off the table, there's more money to be spread around as opposed to going to that one player.
So I want to bring something crazy up because it's crazy. Like, how far-fetched is the idea of somehow retaining Tevin Jenkins? What do you guys feel about that?
Come on, far-fetched, kid. It's very realistic because I can see Tevin Jenkins with his injury history, and just his injury history alone, he can go through free agency and not have a whole bunch of people biting his hook and biting his bait, and he could end up being in a position where he can come back here as a rotational piece.
Well, here's the thing, though. If we, re-sign Tev, obviously would be on a quote-unquote team-friendly deal, which means you're lowballing the player, because of his unavailability health-wise. But now you're looking at it as like, all right, are you signing him to be a starter or a backup? You signing him to be a starter, now you have to have a starter quality backup just because of his health history, knowing that it's like, yeah, he's probably going down. So the guy that's going to replace him, we need to be able to rely on him. If you're signing Tev as a backup to the starter, now the starter goes down, and it's like, oh, okay, well, our backup's in, but he's going to get hurt. That's just one thing that I would not lowball or entertain. It's like, look, dude, your health history is not good. I can't, re-sign you. The Pro Bowl left guard from the Rams that was on the line.
I'm sitting here. I'm trying to find his name. It's something.
You're talking about Jonah Jackson.
Jonah Jackson. So that's what brought this whole conversation up in the first place. Because I jumped on Twitter earlier today, just doing some Bears research as per normal, and everybody's like, "Hey, like Chicago should look at this guy." And Greg Gabriel jumped down and said absolutely not, we should. And I kind of laughed at it, but
You gotta look at his contract, kid. You gotta look at his contract and what.
Well, that doesn't help the situation. You're like well put out. He's got a big contract. That's part of the reason why they're cutting him. The other part is he's basically been hurt for the better part of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he has.
So we're getting, we would be looking at, and folks are talking about getting a guy who's been hurt.
He came back healthy.
I know a guy who's been hurt.
He came back healthy and they benched his ass.
Yeah, and then they got benched. So that's not a good look.
I'm just saying I know a guy who's been hurt. Right, is really all I'm saying. I know a guy who's been hurt quite a bit, and if that affects his drafts, his free agency market, then potentially maybe we can get him back at a lower price tag. I honestly feel like that ship has sailed, but it's just funny to me that Bears fans are out there going, "Hey, yeah, get this guy, replace Tevin with this guy." Well, like he kind of Tevin though.
They're gonna do that. They're gonna do that.
Probably better than him.
Kids, they're gonna do that every time they see a guy available. Because what I'm about to do right now is point out something to you, and I already know what Trips is gonna say. But this guy's available.
Oh,
Dan Rochar was his coach and got him to the point where he made the money that he made. Now he's at 34 years old, and this is the point I want to make, and you guys can respond to it how you choose.
Is he on a cookie boat?
Teron Armstead is they're not going to re-sign him. He's going to hit the market. He's going to hit the market. And they're going to have to cut, some of his salary just to get him on the market and take a cap hit. Now, they were setting up to be a Super Bowl contending team, and that didn't happen while he was there. Teron Armstead is 34 years old, but if you circle that as your benchmark and on how to measure him, and not look at what he does on the field. This is one thing I know. On this team, we are lackluster when it comes to really spreading this team out with veterans and positional veterans. Like this team can really, really achieve something by having a dominant left tackle veteran that can really show who the next man up, how to go about doing his job. You know what I mean? Whether that's Braxton Jones or whoever they draft, whether it's Kieran Amagaji, whoever it is, this guy can be invaluable in your room, and you know for a fact that this guy at the bottom left of the screen, Dan Rochar, he set him up for success. And so don't worry about how old he is. Worry less about that. Just look at the film and what you know he can bring into the room. He's not going to be able to come in here and say, I need $10, $15 million. No, he's not going to be able to do that now. He's 34 years old.
So, as a 1 year, maybe like I couldn't even go 2 years here, but like as a 1 year maneuver, it's not the craziest thing because we have Braxton Jones in place. So that just technically makes Braxton Jones your swing tackle. You can maybe even kick him in, push him inside to the guard position. Crazy, I know it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't. If you could get a Teron Armstead for like a low wallet share deal, like this is a man coming. His career earnings is over $115 million. I'm just saying, like this man is used to making a lot of cheddar. So, I don't know if he's really willing. Look, these last couple of years, he's slated to make about 1.5 mil, between 1.5 and 3 mil. So maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe if you can get him in here for 2 years, that kind of money, I would say he's a great Band-Aid fix for 1 or 2 years for your left tackle position. Do I want a 34-year-old guy playing left tackle? Not really, but we are talking about Teron Armstead here. Say what?
Are you going to concentrate on him being 34 years old or what?
Well, that is part of the equation.
It is a major.
Concentrate on that and say no because he's major. Oh, are you going to look at the entire picture and know that we have some?
That includes his age, right? Like the entire picture includes his age. Teron Armstead is a very solid tackle. There's no questions about that. that helps. But the fact is that if you get him in, if you bring him in, you're looking to shore up the tackle position next year's draft, right? And that's cool. Like I'm fine with that, right? So you get your guy, you draft your linchpin left tackle next season, and you pay Teron Armstead a little bit less than big crazy money to shore up the left tackle. You keep Braxton and you keep Karan, and both those guys more or less either swing into the guard position or are your swing tackles. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible idea.
I got an impression from Ryan Poles that they're going to definitely give Karan Amagaji, who is 320 plus pounds, some run at guard. And so I think they already have a plan to transition him to guard if they get into camp and give him some run at tackle and they're still not seeing what they're looking to see. This is where I think they come up short.
So Nomad Dobbsy just reminded me. Shout out Dobbsy 34, bro. Yo, Braxton's coming off a major ankle injury that required surgery, right? So I don't know, like me saying the collective, we don't have any idea what he's going to look like at left tackle moving forward. So he kind of can't be your answer at left tackle. Just throwing these things out there. Can't be the answer. He might turn up to be fine, everything's cool, but he can't be your answer at left tackle moving into the season. You need to address, like Ryan Poles needs to address this position in some capacity. What you put on the screen right now is not the craziest way to address this particular position.
But read that comment by Victor Perez right there, though.
Ian Rappaport reported that Armstead agrees to restructure his contract while he decides about possible retirement.
That doesn't mean he's going to do either.
Well, yeah, but I'm not. Obviously, he would be a bridge to, 1 year bridge, which does not excite me at all. But then also, I'm not trying to bring any players in here that is considering retirement. Like Khalil Mack or Armstead. Or, you can't bring back Jason Peters because he actually did retire.
Oh, did he finally? He's done?
Yeah,
Trips, you got to look at it in more ways than one. First thing, I know how Trips thinks, man. Trips looks at 34 years old. Fuck that dude. I ain't trying to. He's like that. But I'm trying to tell you, I look at this team and that offensive line, and I can see the deficiencies from a mile away. Anybody that looks at it close enough can see it. You're missing some maturity along that offensive line. You need some real solid, I've been there, done this. Let's go. I'm going to show you how to do this thing right, especially at left tackle. At tackle, there's been no qualified football players to bring up Braxton Jones or to bring up Darnell Wright at all. There's been nobody there qualified to be able to show them exactly what to do.
So what you're saying is the offensive line has no leader.
No. And also, Poles did say that there will be competition at left tackle.
Yes.
Because also Braxton Jones, his whole issue is his anchor. His lower body hasn't been strong enough. And it's not going to help that he has pins in his ankle now. Because guess what? He's rehabbing and not lifting and getting stronger. So when the season starts, he may be ready to go, but he's still going to be way light in the ass and even lighter in the ass because he's coming off of a lower body injury. So how much, more do we think he can elevate his game when his game has just been weakness? How much stronger is he going to get?
So what you're looking at on the screen, Trips, is to me your insurance, and in the draft is your backup plan. And so what you're hoping for is who you draft. If you draft them high enough, or you don't have to draft them high enough, I can see third round guy coming there and just really, really impressing this team. But here's your insurance in case that doesn't work out. You got to think about this as a GM and as a scout, as a coach. Okay, we like Braxton Jones, but we don't like him as our starter, and we want to make sure that who we put in there as a starting left tackle has completely been qualified to get in there and get this job. And so
well, that's why I would go more of with the kid from the Rams as opposed to a 34-year-old dude.
Talking about Larry Jackson, and that's a young guy. There's a difference between that young guy, and I understand why you're attracted to the youth, and this veteran that you can bring in, and you know you're going to draft the left tackle. You know you're going to draft the left tackle that you think can start. And so you're not drafting. I mean, you're not bringing in Terron Armstead to be the starter. You're bringing him in case you have to leave him as a starter. And so you're drafting the starter
this season.
Yes, you're drafting the starter.
How many roster spots are we putting at left tackle?
You're gonna draft the starter, and if that shit doesn't work out, your default is Terron Armstead or Braxton Jones, whoever wins that. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so what you're saying is there's 1, 2, 3, 4 physical bodies, resources at the left tackle position alone.
Wait a minute. Say that again?
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Terron Armstead, Braxton Jones, Karan Amagaji, and a draft pick.
Karan Amagaji, to me, listening to Ryan Poles, definitely sound like they want to transition him to guard.
It's not so. What Ryan Poles is really trying to say is he's not sure what he's doing at guard. He's also not going to divulge that he's looking at Trey Smith and potentially aiming at him. So maybe we put Karan Amagaji at guard. Maybe that's what we do. I think Karan Amagaji was brought in to be the left tackle. I think he will look a heck of a lot better after a full training camp. I'm going to say those things too, right? Like I got to give the kid his opportunity, and I think he'll do well with it. But even then, I think you bring in. I'm with you, but I'm not. I think you just bring in a vet to shore up that position, like to provide some leadership. Those in those respects, I'm with you here. Maybe it's not Terron, maybe it's somebody else who might be a couple years younger. But I think you do bring in a vet at left tackle. I think it makes sense.
But now let me ask you a question also. Did he start it for the last year, right? For the Aints?
Yeah.
No.
He's playing in
Miami. I just did that. I did the Saints.
Just show Dan Rocha
graphic just to put the connection together.
Okay, but he started for Miami then.
Yes.
And he played whole season. How many sacks he give up? Like, was he good production?
He played good football. I didn't get into all the metrics and how many he played good football, solid football.
Now, if you're him, are you trying to go to a team where you're fighting to be a backup or having to battle for the starting spot? Or would you go to a position or a team with, we want you to start for us kind of thing?
There's that Kansas City Chiefs. We saw the Super Bowl and they were inept at left tackle. There's that world. Who knows if they see him as a stopgap situation and say, get him for a year, and I know we can get over the hump. Kansas City might see him as that. There's that world where Baltimore might lose Ronnie Stanley. And this is the game of, pieces moving around on the board where you got to know when to get that, where you're in that advantageous spot to get a guy that can come in here and change the tone and tenor of your fucking offensive line. And this guy, I think, can do that. And his history with Dan Rocha, I think, is, that's game, serve, and match. I think if you can get this guy, if he goes through this situation where he's not immediately snagged up on a championship level team, he knows for sure I need to go where my coach is telling me I need to come down here and help these guys out. This is where I'm at in my career. If you're considering retirement, give me a year and get these guys up to speed in Chicago where they need to be. I can see that playing out right now. Right now.
Well, I think you're onto something. Like I say, if you do this and you get the stopgap, I would heavily suggest you avoid the left tackle position in this draft just because you have a stopgap. You stick with the stopgap. You have Karan. You have you have Braxton. Hopefully, he's healthy enough to again backfill your situation as you move forward into the season. Whoever this left tackle is shores things up. The upside here, the real benefit, is that you can now focus on the rest of the line.
All right. How about this, man? We're gonna get into this next conversation. I don't know how much jeer or cheers this is gonna add, but this is out here now. And that is Jonathan Allen has been given permission to seek a trade. Now, I'm gonna get right out here on the front line of this and then be real quick about it. Jonathan Allen is 6'3", 300 pounds, and he's 30 years old. And if you know anything about Dennis Allen, defensive lineman, he fits the bill. He definitely fits the bill. This is his basically his nose guard type and his 3-tech type. This is Brian Brzee, the starting 3-tech, which is what Jonathan Allen would come in here and play. He'd be coming in here, and this is probably in the event that he doesn't like what he sees on film with Zach Pickens, and he wants to have a nice rotation in here to really upgrade. If he doesn't see Zach Pickens as the guy that can really come in here and you don't have a strong letdown at your backup, then Jonathan Allen is a guy. Now, this is Brian Brzee, 6'5", 305 pounds. The 3-tech in New Orleans right now versus, Jonathan Allen, who is 6'3", 300 pounds. This is a guy that I really, really respect for a lot of different reasons. And he's on the market. I don't think, Trips and Kids, that he's going to be – I don't think he's going to be a piece that people are going to go after in a trade scenario. I think most of the teams are going to wait for the next week or two to see if he hits the market and they have to cut his contract. And then they'll try to pounce. And so I don't think we'll have to trade for Jonathan Allen. I think all you got to do is be patient. He'll hit the market and you can offer him a contract.
Yeah, I would be more inclined to that route because who is that? Real Bears fan is saying there in the chat, not trading picks and then having to, pay a big contract. But then if we get to the position of where he's cut, now he has, the world is his oyster. You're looking at Baltimore, you're looking at Buffalo, you're looking at Kansas City or the top tier teams, because at his age, if he has that competitive spirit, he's going to want to ring. Does he go back to the commies because they had a good season? Does he re-sign for a lower price? That's all a possibility. But as far as him being a Bear, it's like, yeah, cool if he's cut and he's not like horribly expensive. He's got what? Few years left in the tank, say at his age. Yes, I'm ageist. Call me that. I'll be that. I see you, Red Man. I prefer, the youth coming up, the youths. Let the youths play.
Let the youth them play. But look, I have a problem with, at least this season, I got a problem with them throwing capital away right now. So
Did you hear the whole thing? So they gave him permission to try to get a trade. I think that's a stopgap measure. They've probably been trying to trade him all along, and people know that they want to probably save some money because they drafted well and they have his replacement already, and teams know that he's going to end up on the market, and so nobody's going to really be trying to trade for Jonathan Allen. They're going to try to see if he hits the market, and if he does, they're going to try to give him a contract.
If he hits the market, bring him in. Like at 30 years old, given his tenure, given his relationship with Montez Sweat, at 30, bring him in.
Are you gonna pay him like $20 million a year?
Sure, pay him $20 million. That's fine. Like whatever you need to pay him. That's okay. But don't you went a little high with that $20 million. I'd like to think they can get him a fair amount cheaper than that. But even then, as long as there's no additional draft capital associated with the move, I'm open to it.
So, you know what? This is a player. I think about David Onyemata, and there's a world where he gets cut too, and he's out there on the market. David Onyemata is a couple years older than Jonathan Allen, but has a similar play strength. I heard Harrison Graham. I think he was talking about when this news happened. He was talking about something. I don't know what he got. I know it's a production show that he does on Chat Sports. Who knows where he's getting this information? But he mentioned that Jonathan Allen is poor against the run, and I don't want to sit here and try to shoot him down because Harrison Graham did agree to come on the show. I just didn't follow up because I was trying to do something else with the network, but I'm not shooting them down, but I don't agree with that take. I don't think Jonathan Allen's ever been poor against the run. I think it's a combination of the guys around him that put him in position to not look so good all the time. I think Deron Payne had a down year for the most part, and everybody was talking about, let's get Deron Payne. I think this is the better football player, hands down. Hands down, I thought that the whole time. And, if they get a chance to get this freaking football player, I think you get him, but you make sure that he hits the market first and you don't give up assets to get him. Giving up assets to get him, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But if they did that, I would just say I wouldn't be totally upset about it. I'll just say that.
So talking statistically, last 4 years in Washington, 2024 is an anomaly. He was hurt. Only played. Say what?
He had a pec injury and he came back by the time the playoffs came.
Yeah, so he only played 8 games last season. Obviously, all of his numbers are down across the board. Fair. Traditionally, though, plays 16 to 17 games a year, depending on what's available, and he puts up in and around between 50 and 60 tackles, that season, and that's really what you're looking for. 10 of those, 8 to 10 of those are sacks. So, these are good numbers. These are really good numbers across the board. Last year, in my opinion, was a bit of an anomaly. I think it's worth a decent sized contract for a couple of years, and you see how things go from there. But again, if you're attaching a human being or draft capital to that contract, by no means do it. Wait till he's cut.
Anything else? Alex Machado is just mentioning that he said just announced Abdul Carter has an injury. Curious to know what kind of injury that is and if it's something that's going to be long.
Alex, is it an injury that's just keeping him from performing in the combine?
Or is it like from like something?
Ow, my leg.
Like Abdul Carter has absolutely nothing to gain by doing this combine.
Chris,
am I wrong or right? What he's shown on film for the teams that will draft him, he has nothing to gain but if you believe in somebody's stock going down during the combine, he can only fuck up.
Well, but that's the thing, though. It's like if he was not going to perform during the combine, it wouldn't be announced of an injury. It'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that because I'm going to be drafted high. Because all the mocks I've seen, he's like, top 10, top 5 guy. Maybe the number 1 defender off the board, possibly. Mm-hmm. And so if he's not doing the combine drills because of that, I think that would have stated. But injury, that's a totally different ball game right there. He could drop, just because of that.
So the way he doesn't drop is if he does his pro day and the pro day goes well and everything's fine and it was actually
there's an injury right there.
So y'all basically saying y'all just basically approving.
We'll need to have surgery.
Do your fucking pro day, and your fucking stock won't drop. Well, give me something. I want to see you, or your stock's gonna drop. That's
but if Alex Machado's saying he has a stress reaction, we'll need to decide to have surgery.
Yeah, what if he just decides I ain't fucking doing it?
Well, then then that means that you have something that needs surgery that you're not addressing.
No, he just I ain't doing it. This ain't gonna do nothing for I talked to enough people and I'm come to the decision that, I've talked to my agent, I've talked to my evaluators, and they said that you gain nothing by doing drills at this combine. Pull out, dude.
So
is that world real to y'all?
Hold on a minute. So that world is real. There's other things that are real too. One of them is medical reporting. So if they do a physical on the man and they find out at the combine that he has this type of injury, this information goes to the teams and the teams are now going to look at that and determine, do we want to select a starter with our first round? Hold on, man. Do we want to select a starter with our first round with our first round pick, or do we want to select a guy who's not going to start for us until he's healthy? Very simple science here, bro.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's like you just take guys who are hurt and just hope that they heal.
No, they trust me. He's gotten the word out to people that fucking matter. He knows that agent is going to tell those teams, look, it's going to come off to the media that I'm not going to perform in the combine because I got an injury, but you guys know that I'm just choosing not to do it.
Well, yeah, but there's a difference between having an injury and deciding if you need surgery.
Ain't nothing wrong with that cat. Ain't nothing wrong with that cat. He's just choosing not to do it, and I don't blame him.
Look, if Abdul and Alex, please chime in here, man. Is Abdul Carter at the combine? Let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because if he's at the combine and if he's doing the medical, you know what I mean? If he's doing the physicals and the medicals, that's the medical report. So that this guy's got an injury, an issue that requires surgery. This is not him bullshitting. You know what I mean?
Right, because if they put him in that MRI and it was like, yo, what's up with your leg here?
That cat, dude. Read what Vic is saying. As long as he's healthy, by pro days, he will be drafted high.
If you have surgery on the stress factor, how long is the recovery period?
But that's what I said too, Vic. The reality here is the words that are being used is that he will need to decide whether to have surgery. That's different. That you're not going to be fixed by pro day. Thus, your stock just dropped. You understand?
Ain't nothing dropped, bro.
Okay.
Well, I mean, how do you know he's not hurt when Alex is here saying that they just announced he's injured and considering
there's a world where he is actually hurt, but the timing of this is very remarkable. I don't think.
Yeah, because they put his ass under MRI and it's like, hey,
you got a problem with your leg.
I don't think there's nothing. Y'all know damn well this dude is just opting out and y'all just trying to.
Well, no, there is no player that has skipped the combine and surgery was on the table. And, having to decide to or not.
If I find out that Trips, if I find out that Abdul Carter has a legit injury, I will stand on and fall on the sword. But right now, I believe
not to me, to Alex.
He's just been listening to advice. You got nothing to gain. You have absolutely explosive film out there that teams are absolutely, they know what you can bring to the table. Live with it. Fuck the combine and just take don't you see what's happening? It took the fucking number one pick in the draft last year, Caleb Williams, to not do the combine in order to set other players up, high level players up, to say that, you know what, put the middle finger up to the combine. Fuck it. It ain't for me, dude. Y'all do that shit in them tights if y'all want to, but I ain't doing it.
Wait a second, he's not participating in drills because he's recovering from a shoulder surgery. Man. Wait, so he's had a shoulder issues, now a possible leg stress fracture. It's like, dude seems what is this fragility going on here?
All right, look it up. Tell me what you can find about.
I got it. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do it. So test today, straight from the mouth of Adam Schefter. Reveal tests. That means they tested him
at the combine.
At the combine, motherfucker. So test today revealed that potential number one pick Abdul Carter has a stress reaction in his right foot, just like our guy Alex Machado said. And the Penn State Standard will need to decide soon whether to have surgery, sources told ESPN. There are mixed opinions on whether he needs surgery, and we'll figure that out in the near future. Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, who's the best agent in the building, said Wednesday night in Indianapolis, NFL's annual scouting combine. So this is breaking news that literally just came out, and
put it up so people will believe it. Share your screen, kids.
What am I lying?
No. It's not that people don't believe you. Just show for just for the sake of the podcast.
This is him saying he don't believe me.
I believe lies, yeah.
Boom.
Just for the podcast. Let me take
the podcast for you, for the rest of the world. I'm making this
kid. I believe
This is live and direct on Twitter, straight from
On
the mouth.
Twitter. Who's saying this? Adam Schefter?
Adam Bloody Schefter. You've heard of it.
Just read it off, man.
I just did.
One more time, would you?
Okay. Tests today revealed that potential number 1 pick Abdul Carter has a stress reaction in his right foot, and the Penn State standout will need to decide soon whether to have surgery. The rest of it don't really make any difference.
All right, you can stop sharing. Now that people seen it officially from Adam Schefter, and I know that's Adam Schefter's account because I am on Twitter and I definitely follow Adam Schefter. I'm not on Twitter and responding to everything. I'm not officially even a part of that app. I just refuse to even deal with it because it's just bullshit. But I never doubted who cares from what you said. But if that's reality, if that's the real reality that he has some kind of stress, stress fracture?
Stress in his right foot.
Yeah, if that's reality, then everything we said was just bogus, and he doesn't need to compete.
And now also part of the combine is when they put these players under those MRIs and those CAT scans, reveals a stress fracture. It's like he didn't know before today, because he didn't have the testing. And there was, been other players that the MRIs revealed things like stress fractures or other, ailments. And that will throw a monkey wrench in his future plans to be drafted. Because now it's like, well, do you have surgery or not? And it's like, well, if I'm picking in the top 5, I'm not even considering this kid now because it's like, all right, he has the operation. He's already gotten the shoulder surgery. Now he has to have this foot surgery, or he doesn't have the surgery, but possibly still needs it. How long is he going to be productive, for whoever drafts him?
So
before he's going to have to, get fixed.
Who's on the board in that first 7 is my first question I would want to ask Tripp and Kids is, there's going to be a team there. Like, I know there's going to be a team that's going to draft him anyway.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, in the top 10 still?
Not
this motherfucker ain't going to fall, dude. I promise.
Yeah, he's going to fall. It's just common sense. These teams need, like, when you're at the top of the draft, you're drafting a starter. You're drafting somebody who's going to play in a month or 2. You know what I mean? He's playing for your football team. That's just facts. I don't know what else to tell you, but here are the teams that are part of the top 10. You've got the Tennessee Titans, who desperately need a quarterback. You've got the Cleveland Browns, who need all sorts of help, but mostly a quarterback. You've got the New York Giants, who also need a quarterback. You've got the
I bet Cleveland, man, who more than likely was going to lose Myles Garrett, no matter what they're talking.
Hold on. It came out today. It could be, BS, just talking, but the GM was like, nah, we ain't trading Garrett.
That's just BS. I'm telling you, they're going to trade him.
Okay.
They're waiting for the best offer. They're going to trade him. They know that he doesn't want to be there, and they have enough respect for him to let him go. He's not going to be there. It's just about where he goes.
Well, it's also about who's willing to give up the type of capital that they're realistically asking for, and that's a bit of a tighter squeeze, right? Like we're talking about two ones. So if you want your team to more or less suck for the next 2 seasons, do it. You'll have a killer like defensive line, but hopefully you have the rest of the stuff squared away. And I'm not so sure. I don't know. I just don't know who that team really.
I guarantee you, Myles Garrett will not be there.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, at the very least, he makes it to the trade deadline and he's out of there. But I don't even think they keep him that long.
So
yeah, that's a possibility. It's just who knows right now. We'll know obviously more. What is it, next week? Isn't the tagging deadline and free agency starts next week, right?
Something like that.
Sometime in March. I might be the beginning of March.
It might be March 15th. I know starts the new league year, and what that triggers, I'm not exactly sure, so I can't give Tripp.
All right. Well, March starts Saturday, so it's not like it's far away.
Yeah. Right.
But to finish up the Carter thing. if the injury, it was if he had surgery now, he'd be out 8 weeks, but he's going to try and do his pro day. So that's just delaying the issue. You know, if they had an MRI that says, hey, you got a stress fracture, and he's like, well, I'm gonna try and play through it. Yeah, that's not gonna last.
Trip,
Because eventually you got to get that fixed.
have you thought that maybe this is all a ruse so that he can get where he wants to go?
Okay, so you said that already. What we're trying to explain to you, is that a medical test was done, so that rules out ruses. You understand? Like that's what kills the idea of a ruse. How do I know? Because that's what Adam Schefter just said. I don't know Adam Schefter to BS. You know what I mean? Like I don't. He doesn't.
You don't ruse with medicals.
You know what I mean? There's two guys. Like if there's two people, maybe three, that I consider the stuff that they say very close to being law with respect to the NFL. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. Third ones are a little bit of a toss-up, but those two guys generally don't spit out just
agent propaganda.
You know what I mean? They just don't. That's just not what they're known for. If Adam Schefter is saying it, most of the time, 97% of the time, he's giving you what actually is going down. So
and no agent out there is gonna say, hey, my client has an injury that was discovered at the medicals in the combine as a ruse to, say, well, I want to go to this team, so I'm not going to get picked 1, I'll get picked 3. It's like, no, they found something in the physicals, in the medicals that wasn't kosher.
Hey, Trish, all I know is a fucking Howie Roseman's of the world. He's not a one-off. Let me just tell you this. I smell bullshit. I'm just telling you. That's all I can tell you. I smell bullshit.
So can you explain to me
why is that just now coming out? You telling me with all the fucking
because they just had the physicals.
These motherfuckers are more than qualified at his university. Like if that was a
all right, Penn State Joe Paterno.
Listen, he would not have accepted his invite to the combine, knowing that he had this thing going on.
And how did he know until he took an MRI?
Out, bro. And he knew that at that combine, they would find that out about him, and it would fuck up his draft stock. Why in the fuck would you accept the combine invite when you knew that your coaches and the doctors and everybody at your university told you this is going on?
Because Victor Perez says that the combine was created to help teams split the cost of evaluating players by collecting in-depth medicals, physical measurements, intel via interviews on the draft players.
And you think that makes you right?
Sorry?
You think that makes you right?
Well, I mean, does Penn State giving kids MRIs like that? No.
How could I possibly be wrong here? So even if Penn State, hold on. Penn State clearly has a medical department. The fact of the matter is the combine, the purpose of it is to bring everybody together and have them measured medically, physically, etc. by the same experts. So there's no ambiguity with respect to the information that you're getting.
So if you knew this ahead of time, that you had something like that going on, and the combine, the NFL combine invited you, they're going to know that before he even gets invited to the combine. If he had any of those issues going on, those people at Penn State knew that. And he got invited to the combine. He could have said, you know what, agent, tell me what to do, because I know that if they invite me to this combine, they're going to want to measure everything about me. They're going to find out that I got this problem going on. It might fuck with my draft stock. Like that. Y'all think that these motherfuckers at these major colleges, these motherfuckers go through a battery of shit. Shit. And it doesn't take you to get to the combine to find that out.
What if it happened, last month?
What if he just dropped a weight on his foot? Things have been a little shaky, but he's been all right. And didn't really want to go.
It is real, kids. All that's real. Anything could have happened in the lab.
You know what I'm saying? The
facts. So, are you saying that the medicals are wrong?
I'm telling you that it can be cooked. That's all I'm saying.
Why would somebody
I just told you to land where he wants to go.
Why would somebody cook the medicals at the combine, given what I just put to, given Victor Perez's definition here? Because it's a sound definition. It just doesn't make sense as to why. Like, the only purpose of this would hurt his stock. It would also hurt Drew Rosenhaus's ability to reap money from his aid, like from this player. Nobody's gonna do that.
So, Minister Charles, I'm just gonna respond to him. He said, "Dude, sometimes you are wrong.
Like, sometimes you are. You know what I mean? Like, you just gotta fucking
hold on. So, Minister Charles
arguing it
science behind creating conversation and ginning up these kinds of back and forths. So I just let you in on the inside of how this shit works.
Well, because now Rosenhaus, he's not going to put a client into the medicals knowing that there's going to be something wrong. The medicals at the combine are not, geared toward favoritism to any player. They're just lining them up, taking the pictures and analyzing the results. They took Carter's. He's probably showing up at the combine like ready to go. I'm going to be a top pick. Yay. Ready to do drills and all that. They took the MRI and was like, yo, your right foot, little stress fracture right there. What's up with that? And it was like, oh, I didn't even know. Or I thought my foot was just sore. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Now this is news to him. This is news to Rosenhaus, where it's like, oh, shit. Fuck, something's wrong with his foot. Oh, shit, stress fracture. There's documentation on the MRI charts. It's not like, well, let's make up some bullshit so we can, call our own shot in the draft. It's like, no, they took the medicals and they found some stuff that he may not have been aware of.
This costs money.
I got a real question to ask you. Okay, so he's projected to go somewhere above 10. I believe that, right? Am I correct on that? I've done enough
top 5
draft to know, but I know he's somewhere in that top 10 or before. How far does that get him to slide? Just knowing off that. If the injury is like that, then he should slide like a motherfucker. Not 10 and 10 is light. He should slide out the first round.
So here's the reality. So and what I'll give you is a comparison, a viable comparison. So Jonathan Brooks last season entered the combine. Sorry, he entered the NFL draft. Clearly couldn't do the combine because he was very injured and just fresh came out of surgery. He was drafted by the Carolina Panthers, and the question is really, like, when did they draft him? Because I think they drafted him relatively high, but I'm going to bet maybe the 3rd round. All right. Now, was John Brooks projected to be the top defensive player in the game? No, a little bit of a different situation. So the slide might be a little bit lesser. The real question is, which team can afford to pick up a player and sit him on a bench for an extended period of time? One team I can tell you that could is the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'll tell you what, kids.
And they picked 32.
Before you do this, go to PFN and refresh your page. And so that page should have the correct algorithm and up-to-date information.
It won't
if it just happened.
It's not going to be refreshed now. Like
let's see what happens, kids. I just put it up.
While you're pulling that up, I do remember a draft back. Remember Willis McGahee, the running back?
Yeah.
When he had that ACL in college.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, I'm not going to draft a running back, with a bad ACL. But he had a productive NFL career.
Of course he did.
But that did hurt his draft stock a little something.
Oh, yeah. I again, Minister Charles, I'm trying to gin up conversation, man. This is what we do in podcasts, man. I'm gonna be the ass just to make conversation sometimes, man. You just gotta know, man. Just gotta know. You gonna pull that up, kids?
Sure.
Just to simulate what it looks like and see if any kind of accuracy comes out of what you do. And you're just gonna let the computer do it.
So the answer to that is going to be it won't, because somebody needs to update the computer.
Well, don't worry about it.
That's all. I just did.
Why'd you just do it instead of letting the people see how you did it.
Bro, I can do that too because it takes a second. So we'll do it again.
All right, here's a mock draft. Tennessee's at 1. You got that going way too fast, bro.
Don't worry. He went pick number 3 to the New York Giants.
Okay, think about that for a second. Now, to me, when I heard that news, it automatically made me feel like the quarterbacks are going to come off the board first. And that's exactly what happened.
Probably going to do that anyhow.
So Abdul Carter in New York, across from who? Who's that other guy down there?
Thibodeau?
Yeah.
Thibodeau?
Think so.
Does that make sense?
Well, if he's healthy.
I mean, does that really make sense? Like that makes a lot of sense. You got 2 dominant edge rushers on both sides of the ball, and that's game-changing shit right there. It really is. Mm-hmm. Cam Ward going to Cleveland, that's game-changing for them. Shedeur Sanders going to Tennessee, that's game-changing for them. This makes nothing but sense.
So what are we saying here? My point.
Go ahead, kids.
I'm just saying my point is that clearly they haven't updated this. So we're looking. He's still in the top. He's going to be in the top 5, basically, no matter what. I could run this thing 8 billion times tonight until they update it with the information that is like he hurt. So he's going to be in the top 5.
So realistically, you think because he got hurt, he's going to not get picked that early?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But give it.
It doesn't have anything to do with his talent. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's less talented all of a sudden. What I'm saying is that potentially these teams want to have a player that's going to start for them in September and play the role. If there's a question mark around Abdul Carter's ability to do those 2 things, then yeah, he's going to slide a little bit.
By the way, Dobbsy, Aziz is going to be gone. I think somewhere in probably somehow Aziz ain't going to be there. I think he's going to end up being traded or some kind of cap cut, something. Something's going to happen. Aziz ain't going to be in New York.
Why is that? Why do you think that?
Because I know that they looking at somebody else, man. They're going to have Aziz going to get paid somewhere.
Wait, don't the Giants need a quarterback?
Giants need a running back too, by the way. We won't put that out there.
Okay, let's see what happens.
They could probably use a wide receiver as well with Darius Slayton leaving as well.
So Giants need a bit.
So you got Shedeur Sanders. You got Shedeur Sanders picked at 1. Cam Ward at 2. Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Travis Hunter. Let's see what they do for the Bears. Let's just see. Let the computer pick it.
Well, you can't. It's manual.
Oh, that's what you got.
Well, I can do something else. So we'll just do something else.
We'll just start over.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what they do. Yeah, okay. See what the Bears do. It's gonna end up.
Makes sense, huh?
You gotta let people see what it is.
This time Carter went to
It's Kelvin Banks.
Yeah,
offensive tackle from what is that, Texas?
So Will Campbell got gone. Abdul Carter got gone. Let me see. Mason Graham got gone. Yeah, we're Michael Williams got going right before Kelvin Banks. So I'm sure they're doing these draft scenarios and looking at some consistency based off the information they're getting, kids and trips, based off the conversation they're having with all these people around the league. And, they're trying to look for some consistency while running these mock drafts. And I'm guaranteeing you, Michael Williams is somewhere in the neighborhood where they think they can get him. And Tyleek Williams keeps showing up at that spot for me every time I do one. I've only did like 5 or 6 of them. Tyleek Williams keeps showing up.
At 10?
Yeah.
Wait, where is he even at on this list, or is he?
On this list, he's at 26.
Yeah, not in the drafts I'm looking at. I'm just saying. Y'all want to run one right quick just to kid, you can do it all by yourself and just do it with your
I'm actually enjoying the
auto.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the auto just to see what pops off. But some of these
some consistencies, bro.
Look for now. Carter's dropping a fifth. Every monkey's dropping a position.
What keeps jumping off is the quarterbacks keep coming off at first and second.
Yeah,
and everybody said that they wouldn't. Everybody's talking about Travis Hunter and Mason Graham and Abdul Carter, and they consistently do not come off at one.
Like Tyreek Williams didn't even make it in the first round this time around.
It's not because he shouldn't.
No, and like what I'm coming to understand is that, again, like top 10 players are the top 10 players. That's one thing. For the most part, like, give or take an Ashton Genty and maybe that's like about it. That's about it. Like, give or take an Ashton Genty for the most part. This is basically your top 10.
Where's Ashton Genty coming off? He's coming off at 12, right?
At 12. And like, again, they need a running back for sure, so that makes sense. I usually see this flipped. It's usually Ashton Genty to the Raiders and a wide receiver over at
Kids, do me a favor. Run a scenario where you trade that 10 pick. Just run that scenario.
Isn't another guy that's fallen because of health issues Simmons, offensive tackle?
We're gonna find out here in a second.
He has a knee issue or something.
So
my boy, hold on. My boy Vic Perez just sent a $19.99 super chat. Thanks for the great content, guys. Looking forward
to next time later.
Later, man. Appreciate you,
it, Vic.
Love you, bro. It was fun, and we're gonna continue to have fun. He said he gotta run, he gotta go to bed, but he made sure he left us with a $20. He's got to get up in the morning. We just gonna mess around and just see, what it looks like. Algorithms are a motherfucker, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, but sometimes it's like you see the consistency of it, and sometimes it seems like the truth comes out.
So it doesn't. So there's parts of this where that you know what I'm gonna do? Like, watch what I'm gonna do. All right, we're gonna do something a little bit different here. All right, bear with me.
Thank you for the super chat, Vic. For real, man. Appreciate you.
Bear with me. I'm gonna do this here. All right, we're gonna do things a little bit differently here.
Packers want to trade up so they can draft a cornerback.
Packers.
Yeah, because what's his face requested a trade, Alexander.
Damn it! Did he really?
Yeah.
You talking about
making shit up?
You talking about Jair?
Yeah,
he gonna hit the market, man. Ain't nobody gonna trade for him because he don't be healthy enough.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Things a little bit different. So things to note. Like we're talking about draft stock and projections and shit earlier on. In every situation, as in like in these different mock draft simulators, you're going to get likely a different look with respect to who's provided the draft stock information. All right, so we're talking about analytics. The way that one the Pro Football Network mock draft works is, again, they're running it against their list, their big board. This is run against a completely different big board. This is NFL Draft Buzz. Shout out to you. But we'll run through this relatively quickly and start draft. Boom. We'll just minimize this real quick and just look at who went where early, because it'll be a little bit different. Again, clearly this one hasn't been updated with the Abdul Carter information either. But he went top of to the tippy top, went straight to, sorry, Minister Charles, I know you hate that. He went straight to Tennessee, landed Jackson early. Wow. Completely different, dog. Completely different. Landon Jackson, early pick, goes to Cleveland. There's your Myles Garrett replacement. Travis Hunter goes to the New York Giants. Ted McMillan goes to New England. This is so different, ain't it?
Right.
This is so different. Shador Sanders goes to Jacksonville. Oh no. Yo, the homie
Sunshine.
yeah, Sunshine Matt. Sunshine Matt. Yeah, Cam Ward. Okay, Cam Ward to the Raiders. They need a quarterback for sure.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. Will Johnson, New York Jets. James Pierce, another edge rusher, goes to the Carolina Panthers. Kelvin Banks Jr. goes to the the New Orleans Saints, and it's now Chicago on the clock. And you were saying rock a trade. Let's do that. Next offers with Minnesota. So oh, this is the Texans.
Man, that's a lot of. What is that? 25. Wait, what? That seems like a lot.
This is kind of crazy, but it's not really what I want. Same token, this one isn't either.
24. Shit, go with the Texans. That's more value.
Well, plus like Minnesota. You know what I mean? So here we go.
Just be quick about it, man. This make decisions.
Decision's been made. We took the trade as requested. It's going to push us right back to 25.
See how it plays out.
Holy crap.
Wait, how is Genty still on the board?
Yeah.
Michael Williams.
I'm taking Ashton Genty. Is that crazy?
Yeah, it's nuts. That's nuts.
I just want to see one thing.
I see you, Dobbsy.
You gotta breathe through this one, kids. I got turned the hourglass over, man. My girl's on the way.
Oh,
all right.
He's on the clock.
I am.
Genty's a Chicago Bear. Straight up and down. I got my draft capital, and we got another little move here. Is this any good? No. Matt Goncalves. Cowboys at 33. Holy. No. Okay. All right. So we're just going to pick. So Josh Simmons, just the gentleman you were speaking about. Before a devastating knee injury cut short his 2024 campaign. You're damn straight, Trip. So do I want to pick a tackle that's not going to start for us? We just did that, and everybody was mad. If I'm right, everyone was mad at Kieran Amagaji situation. Am I going to do that? Yeah.
Round one now.
No, but somehow Michael Williams is here, so I'm gonna pick Michael Williams real quick and easy, and we'll worry about.
So you got now you're just making all those Wolverine fans mad by not taking Grant.
That's fair, but still, no. We're going Michael Williams.
Oh, they privately cussing you the fuck out.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Hey, speaking of the devil, there's Brandon Fisk. There's Brandon Fisk. Two third rounders and defensive linemen.
Wait, he's good though. Why are they trading him?
Get assets.
Okay.
Probably for a very specific player. Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with this. Although I get a wide receiver. Just minimize this. Trying to make things quick here. So Josh Simmons is hurt city.
Scorton's there.
I'm gonna take. Well, I just took an edge rusher. I'm gonna take. I'm a Membu. Get the trenches managed. Oh, Tyler Booker.
You hear that noise?
That's the wife.
That's not the wife, but that's
The wifey.
sands in the hourglass. So are the what?
All right, The Days of Our Lives. I've watched that one, but no Gossip Girl.
Man, you watching goddamn
Well, I know who Erica Kane is only because All My Children has been coming on since I was like 2.
Hey man, don't tell nobody else that out in the open ever.
Nah, because everybody used to watch their stories, as they called them.
That's right.
My stories is coming on. Shut the fuck up. Like, oh, my bad.
I saw that on a commercial, man.
All right. So
that was for the hood.
I'm just gonna pick at 72, and I think I'm gonna take. Oh, where's the home? Is he around?
Hey, Dobbsy, if Dobbsy is bouncing on you, man, you got to speed it up.
I'm sorry,
Dobbsy.
Dobbsy.
All night fella.
I'm sorry, Dobbsy. I'm looking for the homie, man. Where is he? He's gone. He's gone. All right, fine.
Minister
See, it's hard doing this stuff, even when you're doing it by yourself.
Minister Charles said, "Get Kenneth Grant, or he's gonna slap the dog shit out you."
Kenneth Grant gone, bro. He's gone.
Yeah, that was the last pick.
Yeah, that would have been my last pick a minute ago, but it's okay. It's all right.
I know he pissed off.
I'm taking.
Hey, it's all good. Dun, 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 dun.
Either the safety or the tight end, because I don't see the OG I want, man. We'll just make like we got the OG taken care of in free agency. I can take Tate Ratledge, but fuck it, I'll take Tate Ratledge. Offensive guard Tate Ratledge is a Chicago Bear. Next, Dealey. No, not interested. I can still take the safety. Sweet. And Omar Norman Lott. There's your trenches, bro. But is he? Hold on. Is he? He's more of a 3-tech than a nose. I need a nose. Or I could just take Kyle Kennard here too. No, I'm taking the tight end. Watch me do it.
Do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing. All right. I'm gonna do the damn thing. Boom.
What are you doing? The whole draft here? What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll be done here in a minute.
All right, right on. Rock on.
Done here in a minute.
While Ed is working through his process, remember to subscribe to the Nomad Network. Become even a super nomaniac. And while kids are going through that, how would you become a super nomaniac, Nomad?
Nomad just walked in here. What y'all talking about?
How while kids is going through this draft, how would people become super nomaniacs?
Oh, you become a super nomaniac by doing this. Hold on. You become a member. You go to the YouTube channel and hit join. You go to the YouTube channel where you see the icon and you go and hit join. And we can definitely use y'all's help. I can promise you that. We can definitely use y'all's help. Become a super nomaniac for $4.99 a month. And it's that easy. Just go to the YouTube channel, go to the part where it says hit join, click that button, and help us out.
Cool. And also for my content creation website and social medias and YouTube channel, Sports Chicago Style. Give us a follow, like, or subscribe if you enjoy the content and you can understand the depth and the darkness of my mind and how it works.
Here's how you join the channel, man. You go to the YouTube channel where you see the icon, you hit that, and you become a member, man. And we will definitely appreciate you. Mo Fugger just re-up with us, man. I just want to say thank you. He did that on February 7th. Mr. Charles did it, I think about a week ago. And I want to say thank you to them two for doing that recently. We need all the help we can get because it just helps us, facilitate everything that we're doing over here. Now let me get to Mr. Triple R and his thing over here. Where is your stuff at, man? I got so much stuff going on here, y'all, man. Y'all just don't even know.
Got to organize those files.
I do. I do. Miss, hey, hit it up again.
Chunky monkeys. Hey, girl.
Hit it up again, Trip.
Sports Chicago Style. You know, you can find us there on the Blue Sky, on the Facebook, on the Instagram, on the Twitter, and of course on the YouTube, as well as the .com, Ko-fi, and Patreon. All Sports Chicago Style.
We're gonna re up everything that we're doing as the Nomad Network and what he's doing over there at Sports Chicago Style. I'm promising you guys that we're gonna whatever you seeing right now, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. All we need is support. Really, it's all we need. You know, if you can, I'm not accusing anybody of bad deeds, but if people support some of these guys that are corporate, why not support the small guys, man? We're living in a world where the smaller guys that really need it don't necessarily get the support that they really and truly could use. You know what I mean? Because people are really, basically going towards the corporate stuff, and that's not good for us small people. I don't know anybody that's a part of this podcast at least that is rich. You know what I mean? We really need help.
I'm trying though. Like I'm trying. It ain't working.
I've been trying all my life. Hey, if it takes it, I'm gonna die trying.
All right. You gotta support the actual creators that are creating that you enjoy their content and support them. Because we're not doing the corporate sponsorships and this, that, and the other. So it would be totally appreciated. And speaking of previews, I believe it was a couple days ago, Chef Trips put up the recipe for sweet and sour sauce with the pineapple tidbits up in there. And then a preview coming up real soon. You got the vegetable fried rice.
Hey, Trips, I got to ask you, man, because my girlfriend asked me to ask you this when I told her about you made the sweet and sour. She asked for basically a recipe for duck. That's what she likes. Can you do
recipe for what?
Duck sauce.
Oh, duck sauce?
Yeah.
Well, I'll confer with Chef Trips and see what he says, but I think Chef Trips can always handle whatever the request is.
When you do that, just let me know, because she told me specifically. She said, ask him about that. That's what she preferred, duck sauce. I'm more of a sweet and sour mixed with a duck sauce kind of guy, but she likes that duck, man.
Right on. Yeah, I'll confer with Chef Trips to see what he got going on there in the kitchen.
All right. When you do it, just make sure you tag me or something. Let me know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, this draft is crazy. I'm gonna go through what actually wound up happening, and you guys are gonna scream in the end because it's pretty nuts. So, all right, here's how the draft quickly. As I powered through this thing, here's how this draft fell. So we traded out of the 10th pick at pick number 25. Ashton Jeanty was still floating around. The Chicago Bears selected Ashton Jeanty at 25. Michael Williams fell. As we noticed very early on, Landon Jackson was the number 2 edge rusher selected. We were able to pick Michael Williams at pick number 39 in the second round. Following right behind, we got ourselves an offensive tackle being Armand Benbu. Not bad. Now we've got somebody on the left. We've got Tate Ratledge in the trenches. He's our offensive guard following right up. So we're now shoring up that offensive line. Xavier Watts, safety. He's going to back up our guy, Jaquan Brisker. Next up, we've got Elijah Arroyo. That's a replacement for the most part for both Gerald Everett and Mercedes Lewis. Less Mercedes Lewis, more Gerald Everett. Following right along, we've got Jonah Monheim at center, USC. A little bit of a relationship with Caleb Williams. One more time, we've got another tackle who can also opt as guard in Holland Pierce, JJ Piguis. I'm butchering the last name, JJ, but you are our defensive tackle. You're going to shore up that nose tackle position. We've now got a little thunder to go with the lightning, etc. With Ashton Jeanty. We grabbed ourselves Phil Maffa a little bit later on in the draft in the 7th round. In the process, we scored a first-round pick from the Texans. So we got 2 first rounders in 2026. We also wound up scoring Danielle Hunter from the Texans. So now we've got the edge rusher situation completely square. Running backs galore, thunder and lightning, a tight end, nose tackle. Good Lord, one of the craziest drafts I've ever seen, and I should probably publish this in some capacity. This is nuts, but I don't think it's realistic. I'll just put all those things out there.
It's real. I'm not even gonna house you on this draft because it ain't worth it because it's just the way it went. But Jack Mehoff says, "Hey, spaghetti squash."
Do what again?
What'd you just say?
Jack Mehoff.
No, absolutely not.
Spaghetti squash with ground beef, mushroom. Fuck y'all, man.
He didn't think about it till he said it out loud.
I knew exactly what it was, man.
Did you really?
I wasn't gonna say it the way kids wanted me to say it. I ain't doing it. He says spaghetti squash with ground beef, mushrooms, garlic, onions, diced tomatoes is really good.
Sounds
and
good.
I'm moving to that department, man. We just did that shit a couple weeks ago. We did it with zucchini circles. So what I did is slice them up on the machine and made little circles, and we did exactly what you're talking about, minus the diced tomatoes. I'm gonna add the diced tomatoes and the mushrooms to it, and I think that's gonna be good, man, and make a real
more
great
veggies, the merrier. The
man.
more veggies you can put in those dishes, just the more flavorful, and healthier they are.
That is so right, man. Just man, I'm looking around me and people left and right that are overweight and shouldn't be, and all they got to do is work out and eat a little bit better. Everybody eats some bullshit once in a while, and sometimes more times than not. You can eat that stuff, but just make sure, good Lord, make sure you get some kind of exercise in to bleed out those toxins that you're taking into your body. Sweat them out and keep your blood pressure going and keep the flow going, so you don't have, the congestion in your arteries and stuff like that. Keep the blood going. So many people have got absolute stoppage in their bloodstream, and they don't know it yet because they're not dead. You know what I mean? And that sounds harsh, but that's the truth. You got to get some kind of exercise going on, sweat a little bit, get your heart rate up, just so you can eat the things that you want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say that, man. So I appreciate that, Jack, man. That was something I'm trying to transition to and keep my girlfriend off the. She loves pasta. She loves that shit, man. She just fucking loves it. And I'm trying to keep her off of it. You know what I mean? I don't eat rice and I don't eat too much pasta, but I'm partial to it once in a while, but not too often. I probably ate pasta a couple times this year.
Love the pasta. There's so many different ways to have it. So many different types of noodles to have and different ways to have those. Delicious stuff. But definitely I gotta piggyback on, get that heart rate going, get it pumping, get the blood flowing. So all of the shit that's in your veins, you don't let it settle. You keep it flowing, keep it moving, so that cuts down on the possibility of heart attacks and or strokes.
Man, he is not good. Go ahead, kids.
It's all good, man. I was gonna say, what's good for heart attacks and strokes?
Go ahead,
Jack Mehoff. Anyways, I don't believe that he actually got you to say the name. Between him and Richard Long, just clue in. It's two of the funniest names that jump into our chat on a regular basis. But I do what I can to just call him Jack and call Richard as opposed to the other.
I mean, you got a naturally perverted mind, but he was making a great.
I have a naturally perverted mind.
Naturally.
What? My name is not Jack Mehoff.
Or motherfucker.
All right, man. Yo, I think we've done just about enough for a night. Let's shut this baby down. But this draft was crazy. too wild to be real, too much for TV. And I'm not going to download this and present it to anybody because nobody will believe that I pulled off this collection of humanity. Anyways, as for the collection of humanity in the chat, big ups to all of you. Real Bears fan, Chris, you are a real Bears fan, no questions about it. And Big Fact, MC Fact, good to have you back, brother. Jack, yeah, Jack. Chef 23, shout out to you. Joe Vizzo just jumped in early or at the very, very end of the show. Big shout out to Minister Charles Johnson for being there with us through the entire show. Same thing goes to Dobsy34 and Alex Machado and Victor Perez. Have a good night, all y'all. Black Randy, didn't see you creep in, but I'm glad that you did. Who else we got out there? It's Crimson You Dig is with us. Shout out to you, Crimson. Yeshua Reigns. Yeshua is clearly He's questioning the Caleb Williams case scenario moving forward, and that's just where Yeshua sits, and that's fine. To each his own. In my opinion, you just get somebody to run the rock and you let the kid grow. FFG was with us all night long. Shout out to our guy FFG, and you'll catch him here on Friday, that's for sure. Bears fan Goomba, Nick jumped in. Milton Chisholm's with us for a little bit there too. Shout out to you, Milton. Foster Covers.
The guy just popped in on the screen.
Oh, D Rocket Burns, Rocket Dream. What's good? What's good, D? Shout out to you again, there, the Foster Covers. Big props to you. Good friend of the family, good friend of the show. Who else we got out there?
B Shep.
Yep, B Shep, Ron C, AC Adam. AC Adam was with us again. Marlon Johnson, Super No Maniac came through, did the darn thing. Who else we got? Cornelius Squalls, number 2 No Maniac of them all. Good to see you, Cornelius. Shout outs to Joseph Archer, Super No Maniac, Joe Archer with us again. The Crooked Commish was with us for a bit there this evening here. Good to have you, bro. Paul Rodriguez jumped in. Cooper Howard was with us. Gave us that touching send-off for Michelle Trachtenberg. And, well, rest in peace, Michelle. Who else is with us here, man? Who else is with us here today? Marco King was definitely down with us tonight. Mr. Mayhem was down with us tonight. Smitty Q.
D Burns says, I'm late, but I fuck with y'all, man.
D Burns, it's all good, man. We fucks with you too, bro. Big shout outs to you, bro. And thanks for coming through, late or not. B Minor shout outs to the White Ghost, bigging up his running back of choice. We'll see how he does. Shout out to Charles, who's with us. Shout out to Abdul Carter's injury. Just put that out there because it was a big chunk of the
coverage. I guess something on that for you kids.
What do you got?
From Adam Schefter from an hour ago. Abdul Carter and his family agents, Drew Rosenhaus and Robert Bailey, spent Wednesday consulting with doctors to gather more information. A decision about what to do is expected this week, Rosenhaus said. Either way, worst case scenario, we don't expect this to impact where he's drafted, Rosenhaus said. After visiting with teams this week, I believe he's going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Okay. Drew Rosenhaus is involved. I know there's some shit going on. He's a shit manufacturer. Straight.
Well, let me just be real. When shit is manufactured that can negatively impact the money you're trying to generate,
you seem to think that that's going to be the case. I'm like Drew Rosenhaus. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Well, here are the options. Let me lay out these options before y'all get into that and before we go. From Adam Schefter also. Option number 1 for Abdul Carter would be to have the preemptive surgery, have a screw inserted in his right foot, and be expected back in 8 weeks, Rosenhaus said. Option number 2 for Carter would be to bypass the surgery, conduct his pro day, and prove to NFL teams that he does not need it.
I ain't buying none of it. I really.
So, I mean, that's news that has dropped out of the combine about a top pick that is, unexpected.
Okay.
So yeah,
I'm not. I'm all right, man. Because this can end up in another hour-long conversation. Because
No, if you don't believe it, that's fine. You don't have to believe it. These people are coming out here saying this information, and it sounds a little bit like, just considering some of what you were saying, it sounds like they found out and then sort of coordinated their conversation about it. It might not even be a situation where the combine test occurred. It sounds to me more like they actually tested him before going to the combine and realized that this is going to be a topic of conversation. So they're talking about it, right? So it's fine. If it doesn't affect his draft stock, more power to whoever drafts him. They're in a position where they can wait until he's healthy and away he goes. Cool.
personally, personally, kids, I don't think he's the edge rusher that we would target anyway, just because of a fit standpoint. We had all that conversation about him, and it was more philosophical about what do we think was going to happen versus where he would go and all that kind of stuff combined into one. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's any chance in hell that we draft him personally.
Even if he was healthy.
Yep.
It's funny because a couple of people in the chat said, "Hey, now he's going to drop to 10, and we should get him." Yeah, I'm kind of with both of you on this one. He's that other kind of edge rusher. You know what I mean? He's more linebacker. He's more 3-4 edge than he is 4-3 edge. He's not lengthy. He's fast, right? He's a monster, but just in a different way than what we're really looking for. So I don't think we're going to be, selecting an Abdul Carter, even if he does drop to 10.
But we have another couple months to talk about it and discuss it.
Yes, we can.
So make sure you are joining us here on the Nomad Network, as well as my own personal channel, Sports Chicago Style. Big up to everybody in the chat that built with us. Big up to everybody that's going to watch this on demand later. We see you fools too. Big up.
So let me damn, I didn't know Trip was gonna be that short. Let me close it with this and say this. This was fun. It's always fun when I get on the show and do this shit with these guys, man, because I absolutely look forward to it. When we do shows on Wednesdays, man, I look forward to these dudes, man, because it's a joy for me. I spend all the goddamn on week trying to make sure that everybody's covered with the content and making sure I'm covered with all these draft prospects. And I got a load of them coming for you guys Friday night. So check out that show Friday night at 8 p.m. Central. It's going to be a good one. I got some more guys that you guys need to pay attention to. It's going to be a mixture of some known, colleges and some unknown colleges. We'll mix them up in there, but I got some good pieces to talk about. And so you guys already see they're having conversations with Jamari Caldwell from Oregon. We brought that guy out, Michael Williams. That's not new. Just know that we're gonna hit some shit in this draft. Just know that. Just know that. I'm on top of it, and I look forward to putting that forward for the Nomad Network and for Trip over there at Sports Chicago Style. We need that same energy over there. I'm gonna say that one more time. Bring that same energy to Sports Chicago Style. Please, because we're trying to take care of each other over here, man. That's what we do around here. And so I just want to thank you guys for being here and appreciate you guys. And I mean it when I say, and Trip said it too, take care of yourself in a way to understand your blood flow and how it goes. In order to really maintain some good dominance of your health, you got to start with the blood flow. Cardio is it. And making sure that you're keeping that blood pumping and sweating out the impurities, because we all eat processed foods from time to time.
That's
Nobody
right. Clean the pipes, man. Ask Jack; he'll help you out.
Yeah, clean your pipes too. Flush. You know what I mean? You got to do that probably once a month at least. Make sure you clean those out. But your pipes also include your bloodstream and your blood vessels. Keep those cleared out, man. And you got to sweat that processed food stuff out of there, man. We eat bullshit all the time. I love pizza, and I'm not gonna stop eating it. But I'm gonna make sure I pay for when I eat a pizza. I'm gonna sweat it out. So I would just advise you guys to do the same thing. You're not gonna be 20 years old your whole life. You're gonna have to learn how to live in this world, and being healthy is part of having a great quality of life, man. And so if you manifest good health by the way you act and what you do, you shall have it. You shall have it. You will maintain your body weight. You will maintain some solid health. And the doctor will be like, man, I miss you. because he'll never see your ass. And that's what I would say to you, man. Help, take care of yourself, man. Ladies, gentlemen, and anybody in between. Take good care of yourself. Well, with that being said, I got to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not, and I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.